So in Houston, in the stadium, and I believe in Stetson's as well. I mean, goodness me. Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce Ball. Are you both in Stetson's?
We have been for a bit, Mark. I give all the credit for those to Chris, who went out yesterday and did some shopping, and they weren't cheap, were they, Chris? The problem with them is, though, Mark, I don't want to cut holes in the big rim in either side of mine to get the headphones through. They won't sit on top of headphones. So if you check out the 5 Live Sports social media channels, I don't know if you've seen it, Mark, but Chris came up with a brilliant Bonanza-themed idea. Producer George Cummins features. He's been called Wild George Cummins. I'm Ali Alamo Bruce Ball, and he's Cowboy Chris Sutton.
Are you all right, Chris? You haven't peaked, haven't peaked too soon, have you?
No, I'm fine. This station ain't big enough for the both of us, Mark.
I mean, my other question is, what have you done with your sombrero?
Yeah, that's gone. We've moved on. Different country. Just.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the sombrero was nice, but I quite like the Stetson.
Does it suit you more than the sombrero? Does it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it suits. I mean, yeah.
I know they were bought for a silly bit of social media. I'm delighted with my hat. I mean, I'm going to pay you for my hat, take it home. I think that's going to cut a right dash on the golf course. If it's wet, like it's been here this morning, Mark, protects you from the rain. And if it's sunny, that brim is so wide, and with my fair Celtic skin, I do struggle in the blazing sunshine.
Yeah,
it's absolutely perfect.
Yours on the picture that I've seen, because I haven't looked at the social media. The picture that I've seen, Chris's is a proper Stetson. Yours has a little bit Man from Del Monte about it. Do you not think?
I think Chris spent a bit more on his one than my one, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
There was a cost element to it, and I thought, shall I go big and get him a proper Stetson? Then I thought, no, I won't do that. So I got him a bit of a naff hat, really, but I love it. Works.
I love it. Mark, we're sitting inside this Houston stadium, really intrigued, excited about the fixture we've got ahead. So 6 p.m. UK time, Germany Curaçao kicks off. I know you've been inside this stadium. We talked about this a couple of days ago. The roof is shut today, and at the moment that is keeping out the sunshine and the heat, which is starting to build. Earlier on, though, when we arrived, I mean, we sat in the car for 15 minutes because a proper rainstorm hit, and it was absolutely throwing it down. The pitch looks perfect, but in terms of your visit here, which I think was 9 years ago, that witnessed that Super Bowl, one of the... Well, probably it's the greatest, isn't it? Greatest comeback of all time in the Super Bowl. An absolute sporting miracle. That was Tom Brady leading the New England Patriots, third quarter, trailing the Falcons 28 points to 3, just set his mind to the task and got them over the line in overtime. I mean, that was a sporting miracle. I think today, if Curaçao, ranked 82nd in the world, smallest nation ever to feature at a World Cup, beat 4 times world champions Germany, I think you'd have to class it as the greatest World Cup upset of all time, or certainly up there. It is so unlikely. It's such an amazing story. But as we know, in recent World Cups, Germany have been fallible in the group stages. They're on a brilliant run of form at the moment, but you never ever know.
You don't. Let's bring in Raphael Honigstein, German football writer, former England defender Phil Jones as well. If Curaçao win this, Raf, is it the biggest shock ever?
I think I'll wear a cowboy hat for the whole month if they win
this. Are you nervous at all?
No.
Okay.
I think this Germany team are not great, but they will score goals, and I think Curaçao is the kind of opposition that should bring out the best out of them. They're quite fluid up front. They have good movement. They have Kai Havertz, they have Florian Wirtz, they have Jamal Musiala. All of them perhaps not in top form, but I think the combinations and the rotations will be quite telling. And I must say, for this game alone, I'm very confident.
Phil, if you're Curaçao here, what do you do? Just try and shut up shop for 90 minutes?
Well, I think you've got to be, solid, obviously defensively, and try and frustrate Germany as much as you can. But I think you have to offer something on the break as well. You can't just sit there for 90 minutes and expect to get a 0-0 draw, because that just won't happen. They've got to offer some threat on the break, on the counter. Set pieces are obviously going to be crucial. But I fully expect Germany to win. They're going to be far too strong for Curaçao. like the guys are saying, I don't think it's the most vintage Germany team we've seen over the past 10 years. They're probably not in. Obviously, they're in a good vein of form at the minute, but I fully expect them to beat Curaçao tonight.
Let's focus on the Germans then for a little bit. We'll talk more Curaçao a little bit later on. But how do you judge them at this precise moment, Raf? And is that different to how they may have been judged a year ago?
Well, the interesting question that everyone's asking themselves, and I think even the German FA are not quite sure, is what does success look like for this team? Because it used to be the case that we go to the World Cup thinking, unless we win it, this is a disappointment. We had this saying, a good Germany team wins the World Cup, a bad one goes to the final. But that's no longer the case, of course. We've had 2 group stage exits back to back. And now I think people are trying to figure out, is a quarterfinal enough? Is that, progress? Is that keeping the level of the Euros where we got knocked out by Spain? This time we could play France if we both win our groups. Is that sort of a realistic target? Or do Germany, even when we're not quite at our best and we don't have the strongest team, can we be so satisfied? Can we be so humble in the sense that we say this is good enough for us? And that's the question that's being asked. And the background to this is a very interesting one, and maybe we'll have a chance to get into it. But Julian Nagelsmann is in a very unique but also very unenviable position that he has this shadow national team manager behind him. Not in an abstract way, but actually in the stadium commentating on the games, and that is Jurgen Klopp. So whatever Nagelsmann does will not just be seen in the context of this team and him playing, but also could Klopp do more? Can this team play better? Will Klopp come in? And that's why there's this extra sort of dimension on pressure on him, even if as a nation we can't quite figure out what we think this Germany team are capable of.
Well, let's deal with that then first. So the clamour is for Klopp already.
Yes, and he already got into a bit of trouble because both him and Thomas Müller, who also works as a pundit for Magenta Television, they were asked what would be your preferred lineup for the Curaçao game, and they both picked a team without Jamal Musiala. Now, you could say that is innocuous enough. They just think maybe Musiala is not quite at his best and Dennis Undav could play as a number 10. And that is a perfectly fine position to be in. But when they then both got into an argument with each other, Klopp said, Julian Nagelsmann, is still the Bundesliga, is still the national team manager and picking the team. Still. And then Müller picked him up on that, and then Klopp repeated still. Now, you can interpret that in many ways, but Nagelsmann was not happy. And Lothar Matthäus, another one of our pundits, picked up on it and said, this is not really what the situation should be like. Talking about Musiala that way, but also insinuating that Klopp is perhaps the next manager. So this is how, if you will, fraught the situation is. It's good-natured at the moment because the games haven't started yet, and I think Germany will beat Curaçao and maybe people will forget it. But as we get into the latter stages and the pressure really ramps up, this theme, this topic, this narrative is just going to continue to cause, I think, a bit of a, not headache, but maybe discomfort to Julian Nagelsmann in particular.
It sounds, Phil, doesn't it? It sounds like a situation that they're not going to be able to escape from unless they're dominant from minute 1 all the way through to the World Cup final.
Yeah, which I don't see. I really don't see. I don't know. I just look at Germany over the past few years, and I'm watching them at international level, and just thinking they're okay. They've done okay in games, and certain games they've looked well, and certain games they've looked wide open and vulnerable. I'm looking at the squad here. Havertz, obviously Musiala, Leroy Sané, Voltemada, who's not had the greatest of seasons at Newcastle. I just don't see them. I think what's we talked about. What's a successful tournament for Germany? Probably quarterfinals. I think would be a reasonable target. I think there's 5 or 6 better teams than them in the competition. But however, have they got players to spring a surprise to get to the semi-finals? Of course they have. But I just don't see it. And then obviously with the thing going on with the Klopp behind the scenes and all the controversy, or not controversy, but talk and rumours, I don't think that helps either.
During your United career coincided with previous United generations going into punditry. On the one hand, you could try and shut that out as an individual, and Nagelsmann could try and shut that out as an individual.
You don't shut it out that much.
But you can't.
You don't shut it out. No,
can you?
No, you can't shut it out. It doesn't matter how many times you shoot it down in media interviews, and the players come out after games and say, "Oh, we're not interested. We're just focusing on the game," and all that. You can't shut it down. It's impossible.
Because you might not read it or listen to it, but then you'll go into a press conference and it will immediately be quoted back at you.
Absolutely. And going into the press conferences, your first team comms officer will be prepped on how you're going to deliver the message and what you're going to say, and making sure that you say the right things and give the right narrative that you want to spin on the matter. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. It's not a situation going into the tournament that Germany would have wanted.
It is the assumption, Raf, and forgive me because I maybe these things change, I don't know, and I can't work out from maybe 1 week to the next actually what Klopp's future plans will be. But is the assumption, is it widely known that this is what he wants to do?
No, he's been actually quite adamant that he's not rushing back into coaching. But at the same time, everyone knows that if Nagelsmann doesn't deliver, and the preparation hasn't been great, the way he communicated one or two issues towards his players has caused a lot of problems for himself. The assumption is that if this World Cup goes badly wrong, and again, we're not quite sure what badly wrong means, but maybe a heavy defeat by France in the quarterfinals will not be seen as palatable, then the immediate reaction from everyone in Germany will be Klopp has to come and save us. Klopp is the saviour. He is available in theory. He's not in a highly powered job. He's having a pretty good time travelling the world for the Red Bull Group as head of football, doing a very sort of undefined role, which involves a lot of selfies in very touristic locations.
Well, he looks
not
like
the
he's
worst
having
job.
No, he looks like he's having a lot of fun on his Trivago ads as well, doesn't he? So,
Yeah. And lots of time to play paddle in Mallorca. I mean, it's a great job. But if 80 million people are knocking on your door, metaphorically, and say, you have to come in, please help us, I think it's going to be hard for him to turn down. So this is the backdrop of everything that happens at the World Cup. The backdrop is Klopp is there, and if this is a disaster in one shape or form, or even just unsatisfactory, then Klopp will be the guy who at least will get all the people asking him to come in.
I'll put this to you, Chris, and then I'll get Raf's thoughts on it. But how much do you have to look at the here and now? How much do you have to look at history when it comes to a team? So with Germany, they've got a great record apart from the last decade. They were a European powerhouse, but you have to start again somewhere and rebuild somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, and look, I think Phil's already touched on it. I think Germany are lacking a bit of star quality, which they've had in the past, and they come into this World Cup, and yet they haven't really been talked about as winners, which is unusual because of their recent record. But I mean, they still have a good enough team and players who are capable. Once you get through to the knockout stages, which Germany will, then knockout games, anything can happen. I think Germany have won nine games on the spin now. They come into the World Cup, I think, in pretty good spirits, and maybe there is that sort of cloud of Jurgen Klopp hanging over this German team. But Nagelsmann can only concentrate on what he's got coming up in front of him in the immediate future, and that's dealing with Curaçao now. And it's actually quite a tricky group, but the fact that 3 teams go through, it cuts you a bit of slack. Curaçao will finish bottom of the group, but Ivory Coast and Ecuador, they're going to give Germany a much tougher games. But it's just about winning today, getting a bit of confidence, and getting on with the next one.
Are there similarities, Raf? And I appreciate England have won nowhere near as much as Germany have done. But are there similarities at all between Germany now and England in 2018 with Southgate, where Southgate basically said, we're not we're not going to target anything. Our record and our history in major tournaments, we've barely made semi-finals. We've won one tournament. That was in '66. So why set yourself targets? Are there similarities there?
I mean, first of all, as you said, it's been 12 years of hurt for us, and that's a long time for Germany. The similarity was there 2 years ago. That was the Euros after the Jogi Löw era. That was the Euros after two horrific World Cups. And that's when Nagelsmann, on home soil, managed to generate some really positive momentum. The country fell in love with his team to a certain extent. They liked him. They liked the way they play. And the defeat against Spain was narrow enough and controversial enough, if you think back to the Cucurella handball or not handball, to cut everyone enough slack to say, we're going in the right direction. Unfortunately, since then, they've lost a lot of momentum. They've had the final four appearance in the Nations League where they lost both games and looked quite short of the elite. The qualification campaign was very indifferent. And then Nagelsmann, through his way of dealing with players and talking about players publicly, where he's been quite negative and telling people all the things that his team can't do or certain players can't do, talking down one or two players publicly, really in a very unnecessary way, has lost a lot of the goodwill feel that existed 2 years ago. So the parallel with Southgate is not quite accurate in that sense. We were there 2 years ago. Now it's a question, is Nagelsmann the guy that can take this team significantly forward, improve, or at the very least, continue where he left off at the Euros? If he can't, then we go back to the initial conversation and people saying maybe there's somebody else out there.
Rafal Hussain, Phil Jones with us, Alison Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton are your commentary team in Houston for Germany against Curaçao. It kicks off in just over an hour's time. 8 years ago in Russia, when Germany were knocked out of that World Cup, as they were knocked out, Chris Sutton was disrespectfully, some would say, laughing at Manuel Neuer. Does the German start tonight?
He does, Mark. It is one of the main storylines. Not obviously that Chris gets to commentate on him at a World Cup. I know we'll come on to the story and all the headlines from the team news. Let me just give you the names. We'll come on to Neuer in a bit shortly. But at 40 years old, becomes the oldest German international, surpassing Lothar Matthäus' record, appears at a 5th World Cup and makes a 20th World Cup appearance, becomes only the 15th man who's made 20 or more appearances at the World Cup. So put everything else aside, that is a pretty impressive achievement. He starts in goal. His first appearance for Germany since the quarter-final defeat at the last major tournament when they were hosts at the Euros. Back four in front of him, you've got Joshua Kimmich, Jonathan Tah, Nico Schlotterbeck, and Nathaniel Brown of Frankfurt is chosen as the left-back for this one. Alexander Pavlovich and Felix Metzger in front of them. Then you've got Leroy Sané, Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz and Kai Havertz as the striker. And we've just seen the Curaçao players as a squad come out as one onto the pitch here in this giant, steeply sided cauldron. And they really took their time out there, Mark, to soak it all in, get a team picture, get pictures of their surroundings and really try and make a connection with lots of the Curaçao fans who are away to our right, way up in the gods, in the third tier of seats here, but very, very recognisable in the blue and yellow colours. You'll recognise, I think, a few of these names. Very experienced goalkeeper Eloy Room, plays his club football in the USA. Sherelle Floranus, Richedly Bazoa, who won 6 caps for the Netherlands before switching allegiance, and a lot of this team were Dutch youth internationals. It's how Curaçao sort of got themselves into the position they have in world football by using the Dutch diaspora. So Bazua and Armando Obispo, the centre-backs, Deveron Fonville at left-back, Leandro Bacuna, the captain, very experienced player, in midfield with his brother Juninho Bacuna. Both of those have played club football in England. Livano Comenencia in there as well. And then Sheffield United's Tahith Chong, Middlesbrough's Sonchi Hansen, and former Brighton striker Jurgen Locadia make up the front three. And if you remember, Locadia was sent off in one of the warm-up games against Scotland when he caught Aaron Hickey with an elbow. That would normally bring with it a 2-game ban. FIFA relaxed that to a 1-game ban, so he missed the final warm-up game, the 4-0 win over Aruba in the nation's capital last week, and he starts in their first ever game in the World Cup for Curaçao.
Chris, you're gonna be supportive
Supportive
of Manuel Neuer's return.
Well, I mean, that was a long time ago, and water under the bridge since Russia, Mark. Look, I mean, I must have spoken to the same guy as Bruce did at breakfast and said, what do you think about Neuer coming back in? And he said, well, he's the best goalkeeper. He's up against Baumann and Nubel, and he says, it's simply that. So he was extremely happy about that. And I mean, he has had a brilliant career. The fact that he's come back, though, I mean, may have been a surprise to a lot of people, but clearly Nagelsmann thinks that he's the guy.
I'm going early, Mark, with the potential Dino Zoff parallels, winning the World Cup as a 40-year-old back in 1982. How about that one?
Is he Germany's best goalkeeper, Raf?
He still is, yes, and that's why Nagelsmann, who doesn't have the best relationship with Manuel Neuer, going back to their Bayern days, left a sort of a bit of stubbornness behind and became quite flexible and pragmatic and brought him back. And I think a lot of people don't disagree with it, but they disagree with the way that Oliver Baumann, who had been guaranteed a starting position only a few months earlier, when Nagelsmann said to him, well, you're my number one, only then to go back on his word. That didn't go down so well with some other people. But I think the decision in purely footballing terms, especially looking at Manuel Neuer's second half of the season, where he's been pretty strong even at 40, I think is the right one, because he is still, even in slightly diminished form, Germany's best keeper.
Did he say you're my number one to Baumann privately or publicly?
He said it privately, but he talked about it, and everyone knew it, that Baumann didn't really get the answer, and for a while was kept in the dark. What made things more difficult was that Manuel Neuer picked up an injury at the end of the season, so for a while it wasn't quite sure. People weren't quite sure whether Manuel Neuer would recover in time, would he make it. So Julian Nagelsmann went into the equivalent of match of the day, and when he was asked about his decision, gave no answer. And people thought, why are you going on public television and then don't give any answers to these questions? So he was like a little bit hedging his bets and wasn't quite sure whether Neuer would make it, and that made it a little bit awkward. I think, to be honest, I don't think that is that much of a talking point anymore now. People have accepted that Neuer is back, and he is thereby on merit. But he has been injury prone. If he does pick up an injury, then suddenly you're in a position where you have to talk up your guy Baumann again, who you've just been deposing a minute ago. So that makes potentially things a little bit more difficult.
Do you have sympathy for Baumann, Phil, knowing the story, or is there no room for sentiment?
Oh no, I'd be raging. I'd be raging. If I've been told privately that I'm going to be playing, and then, with all due respect, as well as Neuer's been over the years, and he's been an incredible goalkeeper, I've enjoyed watching him. For him to come back at 40 years old and take your place, you'd feel pretty hard done by. I just think just listening to a few of the stories there on the Germany squad, and I just feel like there's loads of cracks all over all going into the tournament, all over the squad, behind the scenes. There's a few cracks creeping here and there, and I think it's a really big tournament for them to really sort of state a claim that they're the back almost. Difficult positions.
If you'd have been fuming, if you'd have been in Baumann's situation, would you have still accepted a squad place? And if it helps before you give your answer, I would certainly have just packed my goalie gloves up and huffed off. But, would you have still gone?
Yeah, no, listen, make no mistake about it. Of course you have your own silent little huff and puff and your own little rage secretly behind the scenes, but after that, after 24 hours, I'm pretty sure that he's going to a World Cup. He's going to be number 2, but it looks like you never know when he's going to be called upon. You're still part of the World Cup, one of the most prestigious competitions in the world, and everyone wants to be there, everyone wants to play in. So, look, he'll be disappointed, bitterly disappointed, but you just never know when you're going to be called upon.
But I suppose, Chris, as Raf says, that if Neuer, who has had some injuries, does get injured, that's a heck of a man management job that Nagelsmann's going to have to do.
It is, but it's football's always been about pecking orders, and the other goalkeepers, Baumann in particular, they just have to get on with it. I don't think it's I can imagine the upset and what have you, but he must know. As a player, you sort of look at other players' characteristics who are in the same position as you, and it comes down to who's the best player. So whether Nagelsmann said it or not, it's not great from great management and for that to become public. But he can't throw his toys out of the pram. I once threw my toys out of the pram, Mark, with Glenn Hoddle. And refused to. I don't know whether you were going to bring that up. I'll bring it up before you, and refuse to play. And that was a huge mistake. Looking back, I was foolish doing that. But football is about pecking orders, and he'll just have to get on with it. He's still going to be motivated, and there'll be that element that he'll probably. I would like to think he'll probably want to prove a fair few people wrong, wouldn't he, Baumann?
Yeah, but and your huff was. It's about being treated fairly, isn't it?
Yeah, treated with a bit of respect, but then maybe, Ralph will know the story better than me, but if Neuer has chosen to come out of retirement, you're the manager, you want to give yourself the best chance of going far in the World Cup, and he offers his services, what you're going to do? You're going to try and give yourself that best chance. So he's happy that he's come back in, but he's got bridges to build with Oliver Baumann.
I've got to say something. I don't think you can have two number ones, and it sounds like there's two number ones in the dressing room. Players just want clarity, ultimate clarity. Know where you stand, know your position. Yes, you can be disappointed with certain aspects, and you're not playing this game, or you might play that game. That's understandable. That's football. But clarity, give clarity as a coach. Give clarity. You're going to start today. You're not going to start. That's the final decision, and we're going to go with that. And it just sounds like there's just been a bit of, well, you might do, you might not, and you might play this game, and we're going to bring you. It just doesn't work.
Who instigated it, Raf? Was it Nagelsmann reaching out to Neuer, or did Neuer think, oh, do you know what, I've got a bit of spare time this summer. Maybe I could go to the States.
From Neuer's point of view, it was a process, because for a long time he was weighing up whether he should finish his career full stop after the regular season. He only extended his Bayern contract by one more year, I think, in April. So I think once he made that decision, he, I think, became available by default. And Nagelsmann and him, through some back channels, I think, started talking again. And what we have to mention as well is that Baumann's form suffered a little bit as well in the second half of the season. He had some quite ropey games by his standards, and I think Nagelsmann thought, you know what, I probably need Neuer back, and that coincided with Neuer, despite his high-profile mistake against Real Madrid, which you might remember in the first minute of the second leg, had such a good Champions League, all told, taking Bayern to the semi-final, that I think that both the public pressure, but also internally, Nagelsmann analysis and the cold light of day would have been that, this guy is better at this point. I have to pick him.
Is it correct as well that Baumann got the call that Neuer was coming back from Nagelsmann the same weekend that Hoffenheim lost 4-0 and blew, that's his team, and blew Champions League qualification?
I'm not 100% on the timing, but it's vaguely sounds right. But
that's a terrible weekend for him. That.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame Nagelsmann for that, because I think people were talking about this so much. It got to the point where Neuer would just say, "Oh, you're going to ask me about Germany again," because his form was such that everyone just kept asking him that question, and everyone started to ask Nagelsmann the same question. So it wouldn't have come out of the blue as a total surprise to Baumann, but it still come quite late in the season, and of course didn't leave him in a great position. But the point is that he is not that kind of guy. This is not a situation that we used to have with Lehmann and Kahn, who absolutely hated each other, and then suddenly before the World Cup, Kahn is out and Lehmann is in, and Kahn really had to deal with that, and to his credit managed to deal with it in a very brilliant way. This is not the case. Neumann, I keep saying Neumann, there's a nice amalgamation of the two of them. Neuer has been the dominant figure in German goalkeeping since 2010, so that's a long time. And Baumann would have been the guy who, for this tournament, probably only this tournament, because there's others who might be better coming through, would have had his chance. But he's not really in a position to say, you know what, that's it, I'm off, you've betrayed me, you've done this, you'd have done that, because I think deep down he knows that Neuer, even at 40, still has an aura and an all-round sort of ability that supersedes him.
Ralph Honigstein is with us, Phil Jones as well, and Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce Ball are in Houston for our first World Cup commentary out of 4 over the next few hours. It is Germany against Curaçao. Then we will have the Netherlands against Japan, which should be a cracking game. Then at midnight, and you can watch this on BBC One as well, it is Ecuador against Ivory Coast. Those two teams in the same group as Germany. And then the final match at the 4 today into tomorrow is Sweden against Tunisia. The cricket, by the way, which is on Sports Extra, Pakistan are off to a flyer against India. They're 53 for 1 in the 7th over. They may have just lost another wicket. They have just lost another wicket, so they're now 53 for 2 are Pakistan in the 7th over. Their required run rate is 8.74. Their target is 171, and you can listen to that on Sports Extra. Lewis Hamilton won the Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix, and Emma Raducanu lost the Queen's final. We'll have reaction to those throughout the evening here on 5 Live, but just after 5 o'clock, let's get the latest BBC News.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And with the headlines, I'm Richard Foster. Sir Keir Starmer says the military operation to board a Russian Shadow Fleet oil tanker in the Channel will show those funding the war in Ukraine that they can't hide. The ship will now be held off the south coast. The mission was carried out by Royal Marine Commandos. Their commanding officer is Lieutenant Colonel Tom Quinn.
When you're flying into a target at night and fast roping onto the deck, there's a number of risks that present themselves. So we're mindful of that as we go in, but the training that we've conducted and indeed this type of operation is bread and butter for the UK Commando Force. We're quite familiar operating within that risk envelope.
President Trump says the latest Israeli strikes on a suburb of Beirut should not have happened. He's posted on Truth Social that when the US is so close to a peace deal with Iran, it's important not to blow it. He didn't confirm his earlier claim that an agreement with Tehran will be signed later. The government's going to reduce its electric car sales targets. Under the current rules, 80% of all new cars sold in the UK are supposed to be electric by 2030. But that's going to be watered down under pressure from car makers and trade unions. Early results from a referendum in Switzerland suggest that voters have rejected a proposal to cap the population at 10 million. The idea came from the right-wing Swiss People's Party. These voters gave their view as the polling stations closed.
We forget that we also owe our prosperity to those who have immigrated. We depend on people who come here, integrate and contribute to a Switzerland with a diversity that benefits us.
I think this might be a basis for improving something in Switzerland, or at least preventing the chaos that'll ensue. It's going to be civil war. Look at what's happening in other countries nearby.
And a man has been charged after a car crashed through the wall of a bowling alley in Derbyshire. 3 people were injured after the crash at MFA Bowl in Ilkeston on Friday afternoon. The BMW crossed all 16 lanes before coming to a stop on the other side of the building. A 21-year-old is due in court tomorrow.
5 Live Sports. This summer, the stage is set.
She goes aerial again. And it's going to be another 6.
England and Wales host the ICC Women's T20 World Cup.
Across the tournament, we'll bring you ball-by-ball commentary of every match, plus updates, analysis and reaction as the story unfolds.
Through comes in. Oh, hits, that's brilliant. The ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2026 on 5 Live Sport.
Listen live with the BBC Sounds app.
The FIFA World Cup 2026
with Mark Chapman
on 5 Live Sports.
Germany, Curaçao, first up for us this evening. Alistair Bruce Ball.
Yeah, stadium is slowly filling here. The Houston Stadium in Texas. The players arrived a little while ago. Both sets of players have been out on the field, and it really is one of these big, bold, brash arenas that we're seeing at all these stadiums at the World Cup. Retractable roof is closed, and obviously we gave you those team news headlines a little while ago. Manuel Neuer, playing in his 5th World Cup for Germany, is back and starts in goal. Kai Havertz is the centre forward, and what an occasion, what a day, what an experience for Curaçao and their fans. Smallest nation ever to play at a World Cup, and it's always the way the fixtures fall. What a game for them. First up, under the canny, wily leadership of Dick Advocat, up against the 4 times world champions, Germany.
What's the stadium looking like then there? I mean, I keep going back to how Foxborough looked last night with the Scotland fans and the Haiti fans, actually, to be fair to the Haiti fans, and the atmosphere there. Are you half full, quarter full? What's the atmosphere like?
I would say about a third full. Sorry to be pedantic at the moment, Mark. So German fans dominating away to our left-hand side, and they've been more prevalent in the city of Houston the last couple of days. But there's a wonderful splash of blue and yellow, the sort of vibrant Curaçao colours. They're known as the Blue Wave, the national team, and they are well supported. And it's a slightly odd feeling as well, Mark, because the roof is shut. It feels like a gigantic sports hall or convention centre. Obviously they normally have an artificial playing surface here. This is the home of the NFL team, the Houston Texans. So this is a completely new, sort of freshly laid pitch, which is here for the World Cup, but they'll go back to the artificial surface after this. But it's vast. I mean, we are miles up in the air here. You've been here, you know it. The stands, the seats go up so steeply all around, and you tower over the top of the pitch, so you get a fantastic bird's eye view of the action. Capacity 72,000. How near to that we'll get, I'm not sure, but great to see so many Curaçaoans here supporting their team.
And how is that roof affecting the sort of indoor climate? Because I'll go back to what Colin was saying earlier when he was talking about the Dallas Cowboys home, that just because you shut the roof, it doesn't mean it automatically changes the climate full stop. It's not like what they do at Wimbledon. So does it still feel humid in there, hot in there?
Well, they've closed the roof to keep the rain out, Mark, so yeah, it does feel quite humid.
It can still be hot with the rain.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it feels like a bit like a greenhouse. Is that?
Yes.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. So Chris's description of the stadium as we arrived from the outside was a grain store, and from the inside you're saying greenhouse. It's not the prettiest from the outside. It is quite sticky though, Mark, but I think actually today is the coolest day we've had of the last 3 or 4 since we've arrived. Chris has been out early both mornings running before it gets really hot. But I mean, in the midday sun, you'd need the roof to protect you from that, because, average temperature in June here is low 30s. You've got the humidity as well. And actually, when we walked into this stadium because of the storm, it just brought a little sort of cool to the air. And I was thinking, do you know what? I might have even underclubbed on the clothing, which is absolutely ridiculous. But no, that heat is just starting to build. But I don't think, temperature-wise, Chris, in terms of sort of, trying to put all the running in during 90 minutes of football, these conditions aren't too unfriendly. They're not going to be as bad as some, are they?
Yeah, absolutely. Had it been a normal day here, like the last couple of days we've had, it's been absolutely boiling, Marcus. Especially around midday, surprisingly. So yeah, I think it does change in terms of the conditions, and they're actually quite favourable for the players. I understand the hydration breaks at the World Cup, but it does sort of slow things down, doesn't it? I mean, they do take getting used to, really.
Well, Phil Jones, we were talking about them earlier when we were talking about Brazil against Morocco, because the hydration break in the first half basically allowed Carlo Ancelotti to sort Brazil out, and it caused Morocco to lose momentum, and tactically he changed things for Brazil. It had a massive effect on that game yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's almost a game. It's just a game of 4 quarters, and whoever's got the momentum at that point, whether you're 1-0 in the lead, it gives the other team a chance to regroup, get some messages on board, try and tweak things tactically if needed be. So I do think it can dampen the game a little bit in terms of the momentum, in terms of the swing of the game, whichever way it's going. But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to get the hydration on board. I understand that. So teams are obviously going to be well prepared for that, and I'm sure they've gone through every possibility of different solutions in different quarters throughout the games and stuff. So look, they'll be well prepared.
I mean, it is definitely this World Cup. These are games of 4 quarters, aren't they? I mean, there's no denying that.
No, definitely, yeah. I mean, look, they'd have gone through different scenarios prior to getting out to the tournament. They'd have had 25-minute game periods in training where, I don't know, you might be 1-0 down, or you might be playing an overload game where there's a 9v10, 10v11, and you've had there's different scenarios of the games. We did it leading into I think the 2018 Russia, even though it was there's no hydration periods, but we had different scenarios going into the games of what might happen, and the other team had to combat that and find different solutions. So look, they'll be well prepared, so it can't be a complaint.
The one thing today, Mark, with that, just on the talking about the temperature in the stadium, I don't actually know what it is, but as a form of player, I don't think it feels to me like you can get through 45 minutes no problem. It shouldn't have that big an effect the way it feels in the stadium right now. So why stop after 23 minutes or whatever? I don't think that necessarily should happen.
No, but there have been several games where, by all accounts, the temperatures would have been fine for them to play through. But you're out there, you're seeing stuff. American networks are putting commercials in, aren't they?
Yeah, and I understand that, but I mean, you've just spoken about it disrupting the flow of the game and having an impact on the game. I do think at certain temperatures that they should just say if the temperature's low enough, then just play halves as normally. You can't think about television in that respect. It's about it's having an effect on the game. It's spoiling the rhythm of the game. So I think it should be horses for courses.
It's a very loud PA there in Houston. Let's talk Curaçao, shall we? Tito Rodriguez is their football journalist, and you are at a watch party, are you, Tito?
Yes, I am.
And what's the atmosphere like?
It is amazing. There are so many people here. I think around 6,000-7,000 people right now, or maybe 8,000. It's just great right now. I had to step out of the venue because I couldn't hear myself think because of how loud it is in there.
What does this mean then to those fans who are at the watch party and to the nation of Curaçao as a whole?
It's just a great feeling. It's something that most people never thought possible. It's a dream come true, really.
What are your expectations?
Honestly, I think we're going to put up a fight. I don't think we're going to just roll over for Germany. I think getting a result will be difficult, very difficult, and we'll need some luck on our side, but I do expect us to put up a big fight against Germany.
Tell us about how Curaçao's football has developed over the years, because this period started with Patrick Kluivert, didn't it? Really, this sort of birth of development and positivity.
Yes. Well, the original period started back in 2002 when we first decided to start looking for players born in the Netherlands with roots to Curaçao that could play for us. But it wasn't really until Patrick Kluivert joined in 2015 that we really started making headways. Players started joining in huge droves. We started seeing huge development from the team. Performances got much better, and he really pioneered this generation, helped to bring in like Eloy Room, who's starting this game in goal for us. He also helped bring in Leandro Bacuna, our captain. And since then, we've just been managing to get more and more players, some young players, some more experienced players, and really that is what makes up this team right now.
And then what difference has Dick Advocaat made, and how important is it for you, do you think, that he is back for the finals?
Dick Advocaat joined us at a really low period in our point. When we were losing most of our matches, we were struggling to get results. He came in and he immediately brought results and stability to this team, much needed stability. In all honesty, he is the best thing that happened to this national team. Him being back is the best thing that could have happened to us, because he's the guy who was able to get the absolute best out of these players.
Tito, thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the tournament.
Thank you.
It is nice, isn't it, Chris, that Dick Advocaat is back to be able to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really difficult period which he had. His daughter was unwell, and then I think things fell into place where the manager who took over from him, the results weren't good, and it seemed a logical thing to do to bring Dick Advocaat back. And I think the team will feel more confident the fact that they had a guy, or Dick Advocaat coming back, where they were really successful under him and found a way to qualify, and finished ahead of the likes of Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica in qualifying. And I think a big part of their game was their solidity defensively and what have you. So look, I've played up against Dick Advocaat teams, when he was manager of Rangers. I mean, you just look through his career. He's managed, I think, 2 World Cups before with South Africa and the Netherlands. Huge experience, and he will have a game plan. And I suspect the game plan, will be to sit deep and to counter. They know they can't really go toe-to-toe with Germany. But as Phil said earlier, they will have to try and attack at times, and he will have a plan in place where he'll try and get his team to play up the pitch. It'll be about moments for Curaçao.
Dick Advocaat, Mark, was manager of the Netherlands at the World Cup in the USA in 1994. His opposite number today, Julian Nagelsmann, was 6 years old at the time. So we've got the youngest coach of the tournament against the oldest coach in the World Cup ever. And the other point I'd just make about qualification for them, Mark, I mean, the improvement in Curaçao has been incredible, and you were quite right to point out Patrick Kluivert and the impact he had and the way they've gone about recruiting the players, sort of second generation, third generation, from the Netherlands. So many of this squad, there's been a couple of full Dutch internationals, but a lot of, I think 18 of the 26 squad have played youth international football for the Netherlands. But in qualification, they were obviously helped by the fact that USA, Canada, Mexico weren't involved. They'd already qualified as the host. But as Chris says, particularly in that second group, in the third round of qualifying, to get out of that group with Trinidad and Tobago and particularly Jamaica, so they beat Jamaica at home 2-0, and in the last game just needed a draw. They got that draw, it finished 0-0, and in the very dying moments of that game, Antonissa, one of the squad members, gave away a penalty. It was given on the field as a penalty. They were reprieved by VAR. The decision was overturned. There was no penalty. And that is how they got to this World Cup. It's a remarkable story. When Germany won the World Cup back in 2014, Curaçao were 183rd in the world.
And look, maybe we'll see in a week as the groups pan out. But at this stage, I know it's a very long group stage. I know we're only going to lose 16 teams or whatever. But moments like this, or moments like the Haiti fans last night, it can't help but put a smile on your face, Phil, can it? I know it makes it a laborious process, but it is meant to be global.
No, I have to agree. It's an amazing achievement for Curaçao, what they've done and what they've been through, and the story behind it. And it's an amazing story to see, and you see them walking into the stadium and they're taking pictures and videoing and all the nice sunglasses that they were coming in on. But I have to say as well, being a bit of a Scrooge, I hope that, you know, they just show a little bit of something in the game as well, that they're just not content on being there and taking the pictures and all that, and the families are there. They've got to offer something. They've got to offer something to the tournament, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll be, you know, hard to play against, hard to beat. But I just hope that they give something and not just sit there and you know, you don't want to see them getting beat 4 or 5-0 every game.
No. I mean, you have sounded like a bit of a Scrooge there. Really.
He did.
Yeah.
No, look, it's an amazing story. There's no two ways about it. It's amazing to see them in the World Cup, what they've gone through, but I want to see a little bit of fight from them.
Tough group as well, Mark. Tough group for them. I mean, I think any group, you know, you would argue in your first World Cup is going to look quite tough. They're one of the lowest ranked teams in the competition. But Ecuador did really well in South American qualifying. Very, very difficult to break down. And Ivory Coast are in the group as well. So, Chris, if Curaçao, this sounds patronising. If they get a point out of one of these 3 games, that will be an achievement. No, am I right?
You're never one to aim high, are you? I do think there's an element where, you know, we look at Curaçao and think, well, you know, it's a shot to nothing. You know, they're here, and Phil says they're happy to be here, and I do get that, but you know, there'll also be a determination within the group that they want to come here and not be humiliated. I mean, you know, these players are professional players, and you know, most of them are playing at a pretty decent level. The issue they've got, you know, playing a nation like Germany, you know, that's another level or 2 or 3 up. But you know, stranger things have happened in football. You stay in the game and you have your moment, you take your chance. Who knows?
Have you got pictures, Mark, of the teams warming up? Can you see those German training tops?
I haven't. I'm watching. I've got India-Pakistan on at the moment.
Okay. Psychedelic, I would say. So using the yellow, red and black of the flag in squares, in rectangles, all over the shirt. They are bright and they are bold.
Curaçao are in their home kit, aren't they? I think today.
Warming up in the bright yellow shirts, bright yellow shorts, but the home kit is the blue with the yellow trim. Yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
Because their away shirt is beautiful, but I don't think they're going to wear it.
Is that
the lemon yellow? Yeah,
it'd suit you,
lovely. Yeah.
You would?
It'd suit you.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I could carry lemon yellow off, actually. But you know,
you could pull it off.
I think you're right there.
Thanks, Chris. I'll just talk to Phil for the rest of this half hour. Right, after Germany, Curaçao, Netherlands against Japan. That's a 9 o'clock kickoff. Mai Yoshida was Japan's captain at the last World Cup. He'll go along to this one as a support player, and he's been explaining why Japan could go further than ever before at this World Cup.
Now it's more player playing Europe, especially high-level European competition. So now every player play with or play against World Cup level players. That experience is huge different. Shouldn't forget that road started by the older players like Nakamura, Nakata, Shinji Ono. These guys are open the door, and our generation start to go, and now the door is even wider.
Earlier on, when we had Charlie Adam and Stephen Warnock on, we talked about how many dark horses you can have in a tournament, because there do seem to be a lot of dark horses. And a lot of people do think Japan are one of those, Phil.
Yeah, I have to agree. I remember watching them at Wembley not so long ago against England. I was really impressed with them. The intensity they play at. They move the ball quickly through the thirds, and look, they create chances, and they've got some about them as a team. Some good individual players. They can certainly hurt a few teams in the tournament.
It's only England, actually, Chris, when you look at who they've beaten. Although that was obviously the most recent. Thrashed Germany a couple of years ago. They've beaten Brazil as well. They did that last autumn. They've got some big scalps, and again, as we were saying at lunchtime, their head coach has gone, our aim is to win this.
Yeah, and I remember them at the last World Cup, and they were the team which caused Germany's exit, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they are really well organised, really technical players, And in a head-to-head, they can beat absolutely anyone. I think Bruce, you talked about them being
my second team.
Your second team. Your outsiders. I was
trying to get this going on 606 yesterday, Mark. The idea of, obviously, I'm from England, so I would support England at a World Cup. Won't be commentating on them, but if you're going to have a second team, and obviously Scotland for me. My father was born in Scotland, but Japan. I love Japan. I love the way they go about it, and just the whole, not just on the pitch and the football they play, but the way they carry themselves and the pride in their nation. I just love everything about this, and the kit, the Japanese shirt as well. I bought my son that blue shirt from the last World Cup, which I think is stunning, actually. So yeah, big fan of Japan.
So Japan, your third team then?
Well, no, I'm gonna have to. I'm probably going to disown my Scottish roots and go for them as my second team, because that's what I said yesterday. So I think Japan are 2 for me.
So your father has Scottish roots, but you're disowning that, right?
Well,
but Japan are your second team.
No one cares. Yeah. Come on, Japan.
One of the things that Japan are doing, Phil, at this tournament is they have sort of mentoring roles. I mentioned Yoshida there, going along as a support player. Minamino is injured, but he's going along there to try and be a support as well. It's quite an interesting concept, is that?
Yeah, something different. It sounds like they've got a really close-knit squad who enjoy playing together, who enjoy playing for the manager. Performances have proven that on the pitch over the last sort of 12 months, and it's why they're at the World Cup. I don't mind that. I think it's it's a sort of a safe place away from the pitch where these players can have their influence off the pitch. You're away from the families for a long period of time, and how do you use that time? How do you cope with life off the pitch for 12-15 hours a day? So look, and on the pitch, obviously they're there for support, for bounce ideas off, if you like. So I don't mind that. I think it's a good idea.
It does. We talk about teams selecting senior players, don't we, Chris? Neuer being one, or Henderson or Neymar or whatever, to be there to support players, but Japan are just doing it slightly differently.
Yeah, they are doing it differently, and Thomas Tuchel with England has made the big thing about being a team, not having not a group of individuals, and Japan seemed like a team at the last World Cup, and seemed like a team again. And it's important to have players who play that senior role and keep the happiness within the group.
Let's move on to the Dutch side of things. They're 8th in the FIFA rankings. Again, some people are tipping them to be dark horses as well, although home fans there are a little bit more down on their team. Frankie de Jong has said, we're aware of the feelings of the vibe in the Netherlands. You do read the messages you get, so we've got a fairly good idea of the vibe, but it doesn't matter. It's not as if our self-confidence has been jeopardised. We're full of self-confidence and hope we'll be able to provide you with some more confidence after the game. It is an interesting group, this one, Phil, actually, with Sweden and Tunisia in it as well. It's quite a difficult one to call.
Yeah, no, it won't be easy. I put Netherlands in that sort of the same category as maybe Germany. When you look back over the years, they've been really done really well at tournaments. Individual players, they've got a lot of individual quality, but not really sort of performed at the highest potential in big tournaments. So look, it's not an easy group to get through, as you just touched on. So they'll be looking to make a market, and what's a successful tournament for them? Again, probably similar to Germany, quarterfinals. Okay, obviously they want to go further, but I think if they got to the quarters, considering where they've been over the past few years, I think it'd be okay, I suppose.
They've kind of got a group of players who are, reading some of the previews to them, who were still the core if you go back 6 or 7 years when they lost the Nations League final to Portugal. So one of the ways this is being built, Chris, for the Dutch is last chance saloon.
Yeah, and it seems to me coming into this tournament, the fact that likely to start Memphis Depay as a central striker, a player on his day who's a talent but not consistent enough. That sort of sums up where the Netherlands are at for me, and I'm in agreement with Phil regards to them coming into the tournament and being similar to Germany. You think in years gone by, Dutch teams coming into the World Cup, you think they've got a real chance. Something doesn't quite add up with them at this moment in time, and they're not one of the powerhouses anymore, but they still are capable on their day, and they are a very confident nation. So for the sort of feeling within the nation to feel a little bit down on this particular team, that's unusual for the Dutch not to be full of it.
Although, just to be fair to Memphis Depay, he is the Netherlands' all-time top goal scorer.
But I mean, he's certainly not the player which he once was. So when he first burst onto the scene, he sort of had to work his way up and sort of has been a prolific striker. But is he the one you want? Is he one of the best strikers at the World Cup? Well, let's see. I may be proven wrong, but I don't think so.
He's not an out-and-out striker, is he, Phil, I suppose?
No, he's not. I mean, I remember at United he came in and the potential and quality he had in training was incredible, and he's such a strong boy as well, uses his body really well, but didn't really quite happen for him at United. But look, he's gone on and he's had a great career. He's now out in Brazil playing his football. He's not an out-and-out number 9, of course he's not, but he's somebody who can score goals, and if you give him time, you give him space, he'll punish you. So look, again, they've got some individual, quality-wise, they've got some individual good players, but I just collectively and as a team, I just don't think they're quite there yet.
Okay, Phil Jones is with us, Alistair Breece-Ball and Chris Sutton are inside the stadium in Houston, and our first commentary match is Germany against Curaçao as Group E gets underway. Then it will be the Dutch taking on Japan at 9 o'clock, and then at midnight, and you can listen to this on 5 Live or you can watch it with us on BBC One, we've got Ivory Coast against Ecuador. Let's go back to Edgbaston. India against Pakistan. Atif Nawaz.
Well, India have taken firm control of this contest. In fact, just as we speak, a 6th wicket has gone down for Pakistan. They were looking at a target that always looked a little bit beyond their reach. 171, the target set by India, and Pakistan starting to fall apart now. 79 for 6 they are in the chase. They need 92 runs off 47 balls to win this match. Incidentally, it's had the highest ever attendance of a group stage match in a Women's T20 World Cup. 18,814 people here in Edgbaston enjoying the action.
Thank you. Let's just head back to the Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix, where there was a first all-British podium since 1968. Hamilton was first, Russell second, Norris third. We can hear from the winner.
First, I have to start and say a huge grazie to everyone here, my team here, Ferrari, everyone back at the factory, Fred for believing in me and bringing me to this team. I started out a dream last year, which seemed almost impossible during my time last year, but we never gave up hope, and the team just continued to lift me up. We made so many changes and we made so many improvements, and on top of that, I've got the greatest fan base a sportsman could ever ask for, and so thank you to everybody.
We're hearing huge applause for you, Lewis. That's 106 wins. How does this one rank in those 106? Is it one of your best feeling-wise?
They're all special in their own way, but this one's something else. This is, I watched Ferrari have all that success when I was younger, watching it on TV, and as I've been racing here, I'd always watch the screens and wonder what it'd be like to win in that car, and it's come, and everyone works so hard for it. Everyone truly deserves it. So I'm forever grateful to them, and this is just the first, I hope, of many, but great pit stops today, great strategy. The car felt fantastic. And Forza Ferrari.
Lewis Hamilton there, having taken the checkered flag, speaking to Nico Rosberg, and the Checkered Flag podcast will be available a little later on with plenty more reaction. Let's head back to Queens. Emma Raducanu beaten in the final in straight sets by Donna Vekic. She lost the first set 6-0, then the second on a tie-break. Here she is.
Yeah, it was really difficult. I think Donna played a great match, and she played really aggressively and served really well from the start. Really took control, and I found it hard to kind of impose myself. So I think she played great against Katie as well yesterday. So she's a really dangerous player, has had great results on grass. So it was difficult, but I think it was a really cool atmosphere to be a part of in the second set, and the crowd amazing, like they have been all week.
And how do you view the week as a whole? You arrived maybe not low on confidence, but certainly low on wins and low on matches.
Yeah, I mean, before the week started, it'd been a long time before I'd won a match, and to think I won 4 and had a chance in the final was, not necessarily expected, but of course you always want more. That's the thing with this sport. And I think it's important to remind myself I would have, of course, taken making the final at the start of the week, but right now it doesn't necessarily feel like that.
So what are you still searching for? What are the keys perhaps to turning that match into a victory today?
Yeah, it was difficult. I think I did a great job physically yesterday to play 2 matches. To turn it over long days, and I overcame a lot of things this week with the rain and everything, which was great. And I think, on grass, but in general, serve and return is everything. And I think I have improved, which is why I was in the final, but it needs to be better.
That was Emma Raducanu speaking to Russell Fuller, who's still at Queen's for us. How did you assess her performance in that final?
I thought she was blown off the court in the first set by Donna Vekic, who's a very powerful player and played flawless tennis to win it in just 29 minutes. But she rallied very, very well and should have won that second set, actually led by 5-2, had a double break advantage, had 2 set points, did play a little bit tentatively on those set points, and then saved 4 championship points before losing on a tiebreak. So I suppose when the rally is perhaps heading her way, it's about having a little bit more conviction, being a little bit braver, trying to finish the point by going for the lines. But given where she was at the start of the week, she certainly made a lot of progress. And the question is now, how much more does she want to play before Wimbledon? She's entered Nottingham this week. Will she want to play, having had 3 matches over the weekend? May not need to start until Wednesday, having said that. And she's also entered Eastbourne the week before Wimbledon. One other thing to bear in mind for her, actually, Mark, is that as a result of reaching the final here, she's going to be 31 in the world rankings on Monday. Top 32 will be seeded for Wimbledon, so she's in those seeding places. But if she doesn't play this week, there's a danger, of course, that she would drop out and then have the potential to play a top 10 player or even the world number 1 in the very first round.
There's quite an interesting dilemma then she's got about how much more she plays then between now and Wimbledon. Particularly, actually, was it I keep getting my days mixed up. Was it yesterday where she had the strapping on and then took the strapping off in the court? Was that the quarter-final? Was that the day before? That
was the quarter-final, yes. And then she also played the semi-final with the strapping for some of the match. And she had the strapping at the start of the final today and ripped it off after losing the first 5 games. So I don't think there's an injury problem there, but it's all about the load on the body. And even though her matches this week were relatively quick, she won her first 4 in straight sets. She lost today in straight sets. Those 2 matches yesterday, 3 matches over the weekend. Maybe she just wants to go back out there again. After all, to win a Grand Slam, you have to win matches over the course of 2 weeks. So maybe it'd be good for her to go straight back out there. I think it'll be quite a difficult decision. And they will probably take a view in the morning, I would imagine, when she's had a night to recover.
The Queen's crowd and you could see some British success this afternoon.
Well, actually, they're only 2 points away now, this doubles pair, which features one British player in Olivia Nichols, playing with Tereza Mihajlikova of Slovakia. They're playing Leila Fernandez and Laura Siegemund, the Canadian-German partnership. They have won the first set by 6-3, and they're actually serving for the match at 5-4, but 30 all. So I'm not quite sure they're going to win it quickly enough for us, Mark.
All right, Russell, thank you. When they do win it, or if they win it, we'll let you know. One bit of transfer news, and Real Madrid have a verbal agreement in place to sign Marc Cucurella from Chelsea after the World Cup. Obviously, he's with Spain at the moment, but a deal has apparently been struck between all parties for a permanent transfer, which I think would therefore make him the first signing of the next Jose Mourinho era. Does that, Phil Jones, do you think that makes sense for everybody?
Yeah, I think we touched on him previously in the show the other day about how coming into the previous tournament for Spain, he's almost ridiculed. He had not a great season, but Chelsea struggled that season leading into the tournament, and he had an unbelievable tournament. Obviously in the final, we all know he assisted the goal that killed England's hearts. But I think he's a player who's got a lot of character. He's a presence. He's aggressive. He's defending. He's really hard to play against. He gets really tight to the opponents. He gets forward. He gets assists, and he just strikes me as a typical sort of Jose Mourinho signing.
Okay, Phil Jones is with us. We are 20 minutes away from kickoff in Houston between Germany and Curaçao. Dean Gore is part of the Curaçao coaching staff. His son Kenji is in the squad and on the bench this afternoon. The two of them have been speaking to the BBC's Mani Jasmi, with Dean recalling his reaction when they were drawn against the Germans.
I thought, yes, what an occasion. If you think of a World Cup, you think of Brazil, Argentina, Germany. You think of all the big countries that won it and have the history. Now we making history by playing a historical game in a World Cup 2026 against Germany. In 100 years' time, when people look at the papers, hey, Curaçao in 2026, they played Germany in a World Cup.
A lot of your players were raised in the Netherlands, and there's a rivalry between the Dutch and the Germans. So is it even more special from that point of view?
Yeah, we hate the Germans. It's true that we raised up in Holland by hating the Germans. That's how we raised up. But during the years, it all faded away. But I know in the beginning it wasn't good at all. We have definitely 17 million supporters in the game against Germany, which is great.
One of the Uzbekistan players, and Uzbekistan are also making their debut at the World Cup, he told me that, it's just another game. There's nothing special about playing at the World Cup.
Whoever said that is a liar. Why is he lying? Why is he lying?
I don't understand.
Or he's lying to himself. I don't know. Maybe he's not aware of the lie. That's also okay.
He's not real. Come on, be honest.
This is huge. To play at a World Cup for the first, I don't understand that. But anyway.
You make history for yourself and for your family and for your country. It's not just a game. No, it's special.
Dean and Kenji Gore. Dean on the coaching staff for Curaçao, Kenji on the bench this afternoon. Phil Jones still with us, Rafa Honigstein back with us. They said it in certain words, the relationship between the Dutch and the Germans. Do you want to expand on it, Raf?
I think relations have thawed a little bit since the heydays of the rivalry in the 80s. There's been a lot more exchange, Germans going to the Netherlands, Dutch players playing in Germany. Things have softened up a bit. But when it comes to the World Cup, it's the Dutch and the Italians we really dislike most. But I don't think it extends to former crown colonies. I don't think there's any ill will towards Curaçao in Germany. And I think, if anything, looking at their amazing achievements so far and the way they've approached this, I think a lot of Germans will love supporting them against the other teams in this group, just not today.
So do those rivalries, do they stem from the 70s?
Well, it stems, first of all, with the Dutch from the dark history of Germany and Second World War. That feeling was still very prevalent in the 70s. And you have Germany stopping the wonderful team, West Germany, of Johan Cruyff from winning the World Cup. That didn't go down so well, but then they got their revenge by winning the Euros in 88 in Germany. And then there was another big game in 1990 and the spitting incident with Rijkaard and Völler. So there's a lot of history. But in the 2000s, things really started to change. And now it's, I would say, a more healthy footballing rivalry. And with the Italians, it's just their record against us. Until Euro 2016, we hadn't beaten them in a major tournament, I think, since 1970. They've won almost as many World Cups as we have. And they are just a brilliant side. And maybe they've won as many as we have. I lost count. But they are the side that we always struggle against. And of course, there's also sort of a proximity with many Italians coming after the Second World War to work in Germany. And Germans love to holiday in Italy. And for those reasons, it's always the most special game, I would say.
Tactically, when we go back to this afternoon then, Phil, and when we look at, we talked a lot about Manuel Neuer and Germany defensively there, but it'll be interesting to see, you look at their sort of attacking front four here, Sané, Musiala, Wirtz and Havertz. So, Sané you could argue is more of the out-and-out winger. How Havertz, Musiala and Wirtz all dovetail and the spaces they will all want to occupy will be interesting.
Yeah, no, spaces are going to be crucial. Obviously, we're going to expect Curaçao to sit really deep and try and hit them on the break and in an attacking transition. But it's in terms of trying to get into those pockets and receive the ball and get half turned. And I still think when you're against the low block, I still think you have to have runners running deep and stretching the back line. Corner runs from 10 positions and stretching out the centre halves and bringing them out into positions, and just be interesting to see the rotations between the German attacking options today and see what combinations they've sort of been working on.
Raf?
Yeah, I think, when we spoke earlier, I was a little bit negative on Nagelsmann when it comes to his man management. I don't think anyone doubts his tactical acumen. He is a guy that will set up this team perfectly, that have lots of ideas of how to create space. He is as a million miles removed from just a vibe manager who just says, just enjoy yourselves, lads, play to your strengths, out you go, things will work out themselves. No, he is super detailed, sometimes too much so. There was a bit of a, I would say, story or pressure that for him to maybe simplify things before he took the job, because at Bayern he was a real disciple of Pep Guardiola. He liked to complicate things. He liked to think of the smallest situations, telling players, no, 10 centimeters to the left. No, don't pick it up with your right foot, only the left foot, this kind of stuff. And he, I think, realized that, and to his credit, gave Germany a very strong identity and simplified things to the point that Germany are really playing well at the Euros, and I expect them to have a similar kind of understanding on the pitch today. I don't think there's going to be too much improvisation. I think you'll see some patterns, you see some moves that have been predetermined, and we saw in the friendlies, even though they were only the friendlies going into this tournament, that I think there is this understanding and enough firepower to at least negotiate the group stages with a bit of aplomb.
When you listen to that, Phil, and bear in mind you've done your coaching badges and stuff, do you understand that that's how it is nowadays, or does your heart sink a little bit that players are, particularly, and free spirits can be micromanaged?
Yeah, I think you've got to get the right balance. You really have to get the right balance, and I appreciate the level of detail that these managers go into. Your Nagelsmann's and Pep Guardiola's in particular, and I know people talk about how detailed he is and how he gets the best out of the players, but all he's doing really is giving the players options on the pitch. So in this position, in this scenario, this is the options you've got, this is what I want from you. Ultimately, when you get onto the pitch, the player has to make his decision for himself, and more often than not, the first thing he sees, the first pass he sees in the game is probably the right option anyway. But the level of detail is important, of course it is, but I think striking a balance is as important as well.
Are Wirtz and Musiala good at dovetailing then, Raf? They work well together?
They worked really well together at the Euros. Everyone expected Wirtz to be the main figure at the Euros, but it was Musiala, and Wirtz had to play on the left to make space for Musiala. I think this time it might be a little bit different, because Musiala is still finding his way back into form after that terrific leg break at the Club World Cup a year ago. He's not quite the same player. But yeah, they really get on off the pitch as well. They're very similar. They're very funny together whenever they be put up on press conferences, and I think if they can strike up a similar kind of understanding and fluidity that we saw at the Euros, especially with a fully fit Kai Havertz, also dropping deep and creating spaces for them, it could be a pretty devastating combination. It's really sad that Leonard Carl isn't there, because he would have fit right into that kind of setup. He is a similar player, and Germany looked really good with him. Unfortunately, he picked up an injury, and now Leroy Sané is the beneficiary. But he gives Germany something different, because he's the out-and-out winger in a side that's quite heavy on sort of technical players and number 10 and number 8s. He is the one guy with width who should create problems on the right-hand side, cutting inside. So all in all, I think it's a pretty decent setup. Not a brilliant one, Not one, I think, that's going to be in contention for winning the World Cup. But against the likes of Curaçao today, I think we should really see our strengths come to the fore.
Yeah, he had difficult moments at times at Liverpool, did Wirtz. Is there a sense, Raf, that actually he can have a bit more, not freedom tactically, but there isn't less of a burden on him going back into the habitat of the German national team?
I don't know. I think the pressure of playing for the World Cup is considerable as well. But I would say the opposition is a bit more amenable. He wouldn't, with the greatest of respects, not come up aside of Curaçao's quality in the Premier League. And I think by nature of Germany's individual strength and the mismatch that will exist, I think you'll see a Wirtz who looks happy and looks comfortable because he will get spaces and he has players around him that understand what he wants. And you don't have all these issues that Liverpool had throughout the season, which affected a lot of players and dragged down his form as a result, I think this is a completely different setup. And I'd be very surprised if we didn't see a very strong Florian Wirtz in this tournament.
It kind of, for very differing reasons, Phil, goes back to your point about Curaçao and not having a great domestic season and then go to a tournament and being fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like there's certain players who you either feel more pressure playing for your country or more pressure playing for your club, and some players just thrive on playing for the country. And Florian Wirtz hasn't had the season he would have wanted at Liverpool. He's been very indifferent. He's had games where he's looked really promising. You think, there's a real player in there, and we all know there's a player in there, but he's just not proven it enough. But some players really perform on the bigger stage for the national team, and he hopefully is a player that can do that. He's certainly got the ability to do that.
So you can hear in the background the noise of the stadium in Houston. Alistair Bruce-Ball and Chris Sutton are there. What are you seeing at the moment?
Yeah, it's the choreographed pre-match show. That the giant flags, Mark, I have to say this World Cup do look fantastic in these vast stadiums. So to the left-hand side, we have the flag of Germany. To the right, that brilliant bold blue of Curaçao with the two white stars and the narrow yellow rectangular band that runs across it. And we're just waiting for the teams to arrive. Wow. The FIFA match ball is on the plinth, and I've seen Manuel Neuer in the tunnel.
Yeah, I can see that match ball on the plinth as well. What tends to happen in all of these stadiums that are being used in the USA, that the tunnels in the NFL stadia are all in the corner. So they don't come out on the halfway line. And what we're also seeing at this tournament is that it is the whole squad that has to stand around the centre circle for the anthem. So you are waiting for basically over 50 people to walk from the corner down a touchline and then stand round the circles, which leaves you with an awful lot of time to fill. So what you can do is either, as a presenter, try and fill that, or say thank you to your guests, Raf and Phil, and let the commentator deal with it. Here's Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Thank you, Mark. Mission control for the next couple of hours on 5 Live and BBC Sounds is the Houston Stadium. Perfect timing as the two squads, 26 players each, appear way down beneath us on this immaculate playing surface. 9th game of World Cup 2026, and what a setting for the small Caribbean nation of Curaçao to make their World Cup debut. I would say the stadium now is well over 3/4 full. It is dominated by the white shirts in the main and the German flags furiously waving in the 3-4 tiers all around this stadium. But what really catches the eye is that vibrant, bold, there's a couple of pockets of blue with yellow trim away to our right-hand side, who really are lapping up those Curaçao fans every single second of this. And what a challenge that's been put before them as well. The 4 times world champions Germany. Group stage exits for them at the last 2 World Cups. Quarter-finalists as the hosts at Euro 2024. Manuel Neuer back in the starting 11. And let's see what we get from them in this tournament. So Both sets of players now have made their way to the halfway line. They split either side of that halfway line and then line themselves up around the centre circle. The giant Curaçaoan flag away to the right, flanked by hundreds of FIFA volunteers. It's such a job to get this whole thing organised. The Germany flag away to the left-hand side, and the match officials, Moroccan referee today, Jalal Jayed, who will take control of proceedings very shortly as we wait for the national anthems.
Anthem of Germany.
21st World Cup for Germany out of 23, 4 times winners, been there, done it, seen it, got the trophies for the first time ever at a World Cup, the national anthem of Curaçao. What a moment inside the Houston Stadium for those Curaçaoan players, for the fans of Curaçao, for their 78-year-old manager as well, Dick Advocaat, back in charge for the World Cup. Third World Cup for him. Managed the Netherlands at USA 94, took them to the quarterfinals, managed South Korea at the World Cup in 2006, and now here he is with Curaçao. And Chris, it's such an occasion of contrast, isn't it, in terms of the standing of these two nations in world football. Curaçao, the smallest nation ever to play at a World Cup in terms of population, in terms of landmass, up against the giants, the behemoths, Germany. The youngest manager at the tournament, Julian Nagelsmann, and the oldest ever at a World Cup is Dick Advocaat. It's just a brilliant setup today.
It is. It's little v large, isn't it? And one of Europe's absolute powerhouses, Germany, against a little Caribbean island 40 miles north of Venezuela. I've got to be truthful. I hadn't heard of Curaçao until a couple of years ago. I heard of the drink, but not the island. But they're hereby right. And you know, this would, I think you said it quite rightly, this would be the biggest World Cup shock of all time if they could somehow manage to beat the Germans. That's a big if.
Yeah, it's a massive if. I've scribbled down some of the famous World Cup upsets. We'll get to that if we need them. But let's not forget, Germany in the last 2 World Cups have gone out in the group stages, losing games to Mexico, South Korea. Chris and I were there in Kazan when Manuel Neuer went walkabout and they exited the World Cup early, and of course beaten by Japan in their opening game at the last World Cup in Qatar. Before we get underway, a wicket at the cricket, Henry Moran.
It's all over at the cricket, and it's a massive win for India over Pakistan here to continue their dominance in the fixture. India winning by 64 runs. They've bowled Pakistan out for 106. And the game has concluded with India getting a huge victory.
OK, thank you, Henry. So India winning the cricket, Lewis Hamilton winning the Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix, Emma Raducanu losing the final at Queen's Club to Donna Vekic, and the New York Knicks over here last night winning their first NBA championship in 53 years, which is a massive deal. But Germany-Curaçao is the big deal right now on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and the Curaçaoan team, the players, link arms around each other's shoulders, 2 lines of them as they set up for the team photo before the match. Before we begin the countdown to kick off, let's run you through the 2 teams once more. So Manuel Neuer making a 20th World Cup appearance, all in green, high-fiving all his teammates down there, back in goal for Germany. Kimmich, Jonathan Tah, Nico Schlotterbeck, Nathaniel Brown is the back 4. Bayern Munich's Alexander Pavlovic alongside Felix Metscher, the younger brother of Leeds United's Lucas. He plays for Dortmund, he's in central midfield. Sane, Musiala and Wirtz weaving the pretty patterns, trying to make the magic in behind Kai Havertz as the centre forward. The 2 captains meeting the officials on the halfway line, swapping pendants. Joshua Kimmich for Germany, Leandro Bacuna playing at the World Cup for Curaçao alongside his brother and their dad John, a former international for the Netherlands Antilles, which is what Curaçao was, how they were represented before they became an autonomous country back in 2010. They're in a team huddle. Their goalkeeper is the 37-year-old Eloy Room. Back 4, Chiral Floranus, Richardly Bazua winning only his 6th cap for Curaçao, Armando Obispo winning his 7th, the other centre-back, Deveron Fonville at left-back, Leandro Bacuna, Juninho Bacuna in that midfield, alongside Livano Comenencia, and then Tahith Chong, Soncha Hansen of Middlesbrough, and Jurgen Lecardia, formerly of Brighton. No players in this Curaçao squad play in Europe's top 5 leagues. As Chris Sutton quite rightly said, it is David against Goliath. As we're in Houston, a countdown feels fitting to kick off here. 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Germany, Curaçao inside the Houston Stadium. Chris Sutton alongside me, whose commentary is always out of this world, which is also very fitting given all the space links we have with Houston. Curaçao have played the ball up to the halfway line. It is headed back. It's dropping 10 yards outside their penalty area. Musiala gets the ball down, starts a little dribble. He's surrounded by Curaçaoan players, and there's a strong tackle on Kimmich there, made by Juninho Bacuna. He meant business with that, won the ball, took Kimmich out. He was down for a second. Germany get the throw. Good start.
Yeah, I mean, feisty tackle from Bacuna, but that's what Curaçao have to do. They have to get in and around the German players and not let them dictate the pace of this game.
Tahith Chong fouled by Pavlovic. So Germany in the white shirts, black shorts with the red and yellow trim on the shirts as ever, the white socks. And they are playing from left to right in this first half, if you want to try and picture it inside this giant stadium. And Curaçao in this brilliant blinding blue. It looks fantastic with the yellow trim, yellow numbers on the backs, bright yellow shorts, blue socks, and the goalkeeper Room, who plays his club football in the second tier over here in the USA for Miami FC, clearing the ball all in orange. And there's Tahith Chong, immediately recognisable with that huge thatch of fuzzy peroxided hair. The ball bounces loose. Leandro Bacuna tries to turn, slightly loose first touch from him. So Germany have it back into their half they go. That is Schlotterbeck, the left-sided centre-back. Rudiger part of this squad, but not in the starting 11. Jonathan Tah of Bayern Munich, the other centre-back. There's Kimmich winning his 111th cap for Germany tonight, and Sane gets on the ball for the first time. Such a slick, elegant mover, ball at his feet, running from right to left. Nice build-up play from Germany. Ball chested down by Brown into the penalty area. Cross comes in, the ball goes loose. Curaçao get enough on it to get it away. Now they try and launch a counter-attack down the left-hand side. Pavlovic makes the block with his shoulder. Curaçao feel that should be a free kick. Have they been given the decision by the Moroccan referee? Yes, they have.
Yeah, Fonville there winning the free kick. But the Germans there, brilliant play down that left-hand side, give and go. And Brown got to the byline, and just for a moment I thought they'd found a German player in the middle, but Curaçao clear. They've just got to hang on in this game in the early stages. It's really important they get to the first half of the first half, certainly level.
Here comes their first proper attack. It's Locadia, who's spun wide to the right, turns on the ball, plays it back to Chong. Clever feet from him on the edge of the box, but runs into trouble. Measured pass out, then Schlotterbeck's ball out from the back is blocked and comes off a Curaçaoan boot and goes behind for a goal kick, and Manuel Neuer wants to get on with things quickly. Julian Nagelsmann has gone casual, just picking him up on our monitor there. Quite difficult to pick him out in detail. From way up in our commentary position here, but that's a sort of dark blue polo shirt with a sort of golden vertical stripe down the front of it as his Germany team start to play inside the Curaçaoan half. Zane chests the ball down, zips a pass infield, can't find Mecha. There's Hansen for Curaçao, flicks the ball forward but only as far as Kimmich, and Kimmich slows things down and passes back to Tar. Tar looks for Musiala, he was under pressure but got his right foot to the ball and finds Schlotterbeck. It's played to the left-hand side here. Wietz with the socks rolled down outside of his right foot, plays one down the inside left channel. Curaçao break it up. Leandro Bacuna tries to dribble it over the halfway line. He's tackled. On the turn is Musiala. Havertz makes the run. He can't find him with that pass. Sliding challenge from Hansen. Gets a big roar from the Curaçaoan fans, and then Juninho Bacuna knocks the ball around his man, tries to collect it the other side. Mecha sticks with him. Germany double up on Bacuna, and the referee blows his whistle and says free kick for Germany. It is Germany 0, Curaçao 0. Forgot to start the stopwatch, but luckily there are two enormous screens, huge rectangular screens above the fans at either end of the ground, and that tells me we played 4 minutes in the first half. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, and Curaçao just happy to sit in a mid to low block. We expect Germany to dominate the possession. The important thing is Curaçao, when they do win the ball back, they try and make some passes and hold on to the ball. That's easier said than done against a German team who will be aggressive with their press.
4 more World Cup commentaries. This is the first of them on the way on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, taking you into the early hours of the morning. Next up, 9 o'clock UK time, Netherlands, Japan. John Murray and Paul Robinson with that one. That's a great ball in on the left-hand side. Germany into the penalty area. Brilliant block. 2 defenders get in the way of the strike there from Musiala. He gets another chance here. Finds Brown to his left-hand side. Havertz is lurking just inside the penalty area. Play back to Mecha. Mecha to Wirtz. Back to Mecha. Oh, it's a brilliant goal. Stunning strike from Felix Mecha in the 6th minute of this game, playing around the Curaçaoan defenders, and you do not finish better than that at a World Cup. Whips it past the goalkeeper. A statement of intent from Germany. Germany 1, Curaçao 0.
Yeah, Felix will be purring about that finish. Really composed, found the corner of the net, passed it in. We expected a fast start from Germany. That's exactly what we got. So clever with the interplay. And then it sat for him, 18 yards out. And he found the corner of the net. Little give and go. Set back, I think, from Florian Wirtz. Just fed the ball back into his path. And he runs onto it. It's majestic from Mecha. He bends the ball round. I think it's Bazua, Curaçao defender, and Julian Nagelsmann, some celebration there from him. Maybe a bit of relief, but that's the perfect start for the Germans.
Yeah, this is the beautiful game, and that was a beautiful goal, and those two players made it look so casual and so easy, which I think is kind of what fooled Curaçao there. Mecha had sort of initially dummied the shot, rolled it into Wirtz, and Wirtz was just sort of standing there, casually flicked it back to him. Mecha walked onto it, found the corner. Here's Musiala, he hits a shot, and Curaçao under real pressure. Pavlovic onto it for Germany, passes to his left-hand side, Musiala wide to Brown, Brown's cross is blocked, and that actually is going to be a goal kick to Curaçao. So just 7 minutes in, and Germany lead them by a goal to nil.
And the discussion there with the Curaçao defenders, I think with the goalkeeper Room, who tried to pass the ball out from the back, but no room for errors like that, we should say.
Felix purring, no room for errors. Magnificent Mecha. Chris, you've got to keep your powder dry. It's a long tournament. Can't keep it going at that sort of pace.
Yeah.
Germany 1, Curaçao 0. Room, the goalkeeper, fires the clearance out to the left-hand side. Locadia heads it infield. Juninho Bacuna, the ball finds its way through the middle here. Comenencia plays it through, but Kimmich is there to intercept for Germany. And let's not forget, Germany have won their last 9 games, competitive internationals and friendlies. So last defeat for them was the opening game in qualifying away to Slovakia, which had all the German fans a little bit concerned, but 9 wins since then, 5 of them in qualifying, a 6-0 win over Slovakia in the final group game, and it's the first time the national team has won 9 games in a row for a while. Here's Mecha again! Oh my goodness me, he nearly found the top corner. Right-footed drive, arrowing towards the top corner of Room's goal, just misses the target and goes behind for the goal kick. Germany are in the mood.
They are, and this could be a long afternoon for Curaçao. Wirtz getting the freedom of the pitch out on that left-hand side, coming inside and knitting things together, and Mecha there. I thought it had found the far top corner.
Wow.
It's a wonderful hit, and not far away.
He is winning his 9th cap, Felix Mecha, today. 2nd goal for his country. That is one he will never forget, scoring at a World Cup for Germany. Germany comfortable at the moment, leading Curaçao by a goal to nil. This is Group E, World Cup 2026. It also contains Ecuador and the Ivory Coast, who meet at midnight UK time tonight. Another commentary you'll be able to hear on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Curaçao fans getting excited because Soncha Hansen was making progress down the inside right channel. Germany have taken the ball off him. Kimmich, cool as you like, striding up towards the halfway line. Shirt neatly tucked into those black shorts. 1-2 there between Tar and Pavlovic. Straight ball up to Musiala, who's dropped a bit deeper. Tar again, strokes it up to Havertz. Havertz holds off Bazua, is able to turn and sweeps a pass out to the left-hand side. Here's Wirtz, drops the shoulder, right-footed pass, low one, looking for Havertz. Got a little boot on that. Back it comes to Wirtz again, just outside that Curaçao penalty area. Sense that Wirtz, Musiala, those sort of players toying with the Curaçaoans. Wirtz again, central position, edge of the box, hits the shot, closed down just in time. And the deflected effort runs to Chong, and Juninho Bacuna will chase that ball out to the left-hand side, but Germany immediately win it back. Sane wants a bit of the action, looked like he'd slightly overrun it, tumbles to the ground. There's Mecha, flicks the ball back here to Pavlovic and collects it for Germany again. Germany lead Curaçao by a goal to nil.
Yeah, and when Curaçao do win the ball back, they just have to be a little bit more careful and measured with the passing. Under intense pressure they are.
Back heel pass from Musiala, the 1-2, gets it back again, dancing feet, shot from Sane, wide of goal. Curaçao defenders goalkeeper going to be very busy here in Houston this afternoon, because Germany are ticking.
Yeah, you've got Wirtz off that left-hand side for Germany, Sane off the right-hand side, coming inside on his left foot. And he shifts the ball on that inside. He's only 12 yards out. He is under a little bit of pressure. Can't seem to find the corner, but actually it takes a little deflection.
Yeah.
I think it was heading in there. But you've got a right footer off the left-hand side, a left footer off the right-hand side, and they have so much quality.
Wrongly awarded goal kick, but that can't be changed. Other way round, they can have a look at that. If you give a corner and it should have been a goal kick. That is what VAR can do, one of the law changes at this tournament. The goal kick is taken. Havertz gets it for Germany. Curaçao struggling to get out of their own half. This was always going to be a really difficult task for them. They've conceded early. Stat just flashed up on that giant screen away to my right. 10 minutes played. Germany have already had 6 attempts on goal. Mecha has found the back of the net, and it's a goal well worth watching. Highlights as ever on the BBC Sport website and the BBC eye player. Curaçao back off here as Germany slowly bring the ball forward. Chip pass from Pavlovic. Mecha brings it down outside of his right foot, shoots straight at Room, and Room grabs the ball and falls gratefully onto it in his 6-yard box.
That's Mecha in the mood, isn't he? Just making a lot of good forward runs, good first touch, just couldn't get the finish on that particular occasion. And here's that long ball up to Locadia again. Does he win the free kick? No, he gives away a free kick. It's crucial. He has that physicality, doesn't he, Locadia? I mean, Brighton fans may remember him, maybe not so fondly, because he went there, was it 12, 14 million a
from
while
PSV.
ago? Yeah, and I think high hopes, and it didn't quite happen for him in a Brighton jersey, but as a focal point, it's his job to try and hold that ball in and bring his teammates into play.
Might consider himself slightly fortunate to be playing in this game. If you remember in the warm-up games against Scotland, Curaçao lost it 4-1, went charging in to try and close a ball down on Aaron Hickey, sort of put his shoulder in but missed, and then, well, maybe I'm being kind to him here, but really caught Hickey with the elbow. Straight red card for that, and FIFA actually reduced the suspension from 2 games down to 1. So he is available for this first game in the tournament. A lot of Germany possession as I'm talking right now. 13 minutes in, Germany lead Curaçao, ranked 82nd in the world, playing in their first ever World Cup by a 0-0 here in Houston. Schlotterbeck passes to his left. There's Pavlovic, back to Schlotterbeck again, just inside his own half. Rolls it across to Jonathan Tah in the bright orange boots. Sane tries a flick behind him. It doesn't come off, but the ball comes back to Tah again. Tah thought about the pass forward, but Sane is there to his right, so he plays a short one to him. Kimmich involved. Tah again. Kimmich is there, 5 yards to his right. And then Kimmich scurries forward 5 yards, stops in his tracks. Low pass across the Curaçao half to Schlotterbeck, who comes jogging forward into this latest Germany attack. Wirtz enjoying himself. There's the first step over. Another drop shoulder onto the right foot. Curling effort wide of goal. And behind for the goal kick. Germany 1, Curaçao 0.
Yeah. Wirtz, a totally different player, isn't he, in a German shirt to the one who Liverpool signed, who seemed to lack a bit of confidence, but Florian is flourishing out on that left-hand side, coming inside on his right foot, and Curaçao don't want to give him too many siders, but he looks like he's in the mood.
Yeah, they all do, Germany. They lead 1-0. Long ball forward towards Locadia. Glancing header behind him is a good one to find Juninho Bacuna. In his blue shirt, yellow number 7 on his back. Flicks a pass infield, blocked by Sane. Last touch comes off Bacuna. That goes out for a Germany throw. Lots of those German fans away to our left, standing to watch the action. It's red and blue seats all around this Houston Stadium, as it's called for this World Cup, home to the Houston Texans in the NFL. Also home, Chris, I know you will know this, to the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Show that takes place every year, 3-week event. 2.6 million visitors this year for that. That is a massive deal, and one of my challenges at this World Cup is to get you to do some bareback sort of bucking bronco riding. I think it could be good for you. Here's Metra on the right, looking for the cutback edge of the penalty area. Couldn't find Musiala. Curaçao played out to Bacuna. Nice touch from Leandro Bacuna there. Little nutmeg on Musiala. Curling pass away to the right. Nearly finds Hansen. Well read there by Schlotterbeck, who leapt in the air. Cushions the ball down on the instep of his left boot and passes back to Nathaniel Brown.
Yeah, that was good bravery from Bacuna, Leandro Bacuna, and that's what they have to be. Curaçao, and the ball comes to them, especially in the middle of the park there. They have to try and make passes. As I said, the Germans, they really pressing high and with great intensity.
Throw in for Curaçao in the left back position. Down the line from Fonville. Sane gets a touch. That comes off Locadia. That'll be a throw into Germany. So Curaçao have weathered the early storm, but crucially for Germany, they've got the early goal. So they can take their time, play with no pressure, let Curaçao come at them when they want to, but also Curaçao quite happy to sit back, defend deep. And these German dribblers, the likes of Sane, Musiala and Wirtz, absolutely licking their lips here.
And they roam, don't they? Havertz there, the German centre-forward, we know is an intelligent player, just drifting out to the right-hand side, interchanged well.
Kimmich, low pass looking for Havertz, his block, comes back to Kimmich, takes a touch and turns with the ball spinning at his right foot. Zane is tackled by Bakuna. That will be a Curaçao throw. 16 minutes played. Germany leading Curaçao 1-0. So Chris, yes, very kindly bought us the Stetsons for our social media video ahead of this game to trail the coverage, bonanza style, all Chris's idea. Chris bought the costumes as well. Producer George, who you've called Wild George Cummins, features in it as well, and George's big mate Jurgen Klopp in the stadium here in Germany.
Yeah, a bit of a bromance.
Big bromance between George and Jurgen at the airport so far this tournament. Watching on, Julian Nagelsmann is the man in charge for Germany.
Bit disappointed we didn't get early team news from George with his connections.
Thought his phone was going to buzz, but it didn't. Curaçao have it with their goalkeeper, Eloy Room, one of his claims to fame, not one you really want as a goalkeeper. Conceded Lionel Messi's 100th international goal. Messi got a hat-trick against Curaçao in a 7-0 win. Room was the goalkeeper when Messi scored his 100th. Yet to feature in this tournament for Argentina. Chong caught just inside his own half. That will be a free kick for Curaçao. He was the man who scored the goal in the 4-1 defeat against Scotland. Another one who has recently pledged his allegiance to the small Caribbean nation, which
I think he was the only player who was actually born there. I mean, all the rest of the squad, I think 25 out of 26 have this Dutch heritage, don't they? Dutch connection.
Good turn from Bakuna. Tahith Chong's middle name, did you see that as well? I'd forgotten that, is Djorkaeff. Just talking famous World Cup footballers.
I was going to ask you who was that.
Who's Djorkaeff? Throw in for Germany. Curaçao have passed the ball out of play, and the game's just fallen into a little bit of a lull here. Germany have stepped off the pace a little bit. Lots of efforts on goal in the early stages. Felix Metscher with the goal that sees Germany lead 1-0. They've been casual with possession there and giving it away. Curaçao come down the right with Comenencia. Germany back off. Cross comes in. Chong's flicked header. Locadia thought he might hit that first time. Lays it off on the edge of the box. Good challenge by Musiala. Hansen steps in. Driven shot from Bakuna with the left foot. Is well off target. And Manuel Neuer doesn't have anything to do with that. Screams at the ball girl behind the goal to get him the ball back so Germany can get playing.
Yeah, and the little section of Curaçao fans are really encouraged by that. I actually thought they should have made more of that opportunity. I think they had numbers 4 on 3, casual from Jonathan Tah, the German defender. They didn't make the most of that opportunity. Locadia not sharp enough to get a shot off in the end.
Germany have it again, just inside their own half. Pavlovic makes a little run ahead of Jonathan Tah, but he opts to use Metscher instead, who's a tall, muscular figure in that German midfield. Wide it goes to Wirtz, will-o'-the-wisp sort of player. Curling ball from him beyond Havertz, who gives it the thumbs up, couldn't quite get there, and it goes behind for the goal kick. Right, Chris, we're about 2.5 minutes away from the first hydration break of this game. So we're going to need something to talk about for a couple of minutes. So just think on that. Think about your Houston experiences so far, World Cup 2026, what you've seen, who you've spoken to, trying to bring it to life for all our listeners back home. Netherlands, Japan, the next commentary tonight. John Murray and Paul Robinson with that, live from Dallas. Got light drops of condensation falling on our heads inside this stadium, even though the roof is shut. And that was happening to you undercover, wasn't it, in the Azteca? There's something going on there.
Slightly. I actually thought the Azteca maybe had a couple of leaks, but here, it was quite strange, wasn't it? The roof is on, and yet we were getting soaked.
That's a good ball. Comenencia driving forward, tries to slide it in behind. Schlotterbeck's there. Locadia onto it for Curaçao, misses the ball. Shot, driven in! Curaçao has scored at the World Cup! Left-footed drive from Comenencia! What a moment! Teammates go charging across to celebrate, and Comenencia disappears under a pile of blue and yellow shirts, and the Curaçaoan fans, they cannot believe it, burst into life away to our right, bouncing up and down, punching the air and celebrating. They've scored a goal against the mighty Manuel Neuer. They've got an equaliser against Germany. It is Germany 1, Curaçao 1.
Germany have had so much control, and they've just been a little bit careless, but we talked about it had to be a moment or two from Curaçao. There's casual defending from Schlotterbeck, who eventually ends up poking the ball into Comenencia's path. It's a brilliant finish, isn't it? Left-footed, he strides onto it. It takes a little deflection, I think, off Kimmich, the German right-back. And Dick Advocat, 78 years of age, raises his arms above his head. What a moment for Curaçao.
Livano Comenencia, 22 years old, playing for Curaçao in their debut at the World Cup, and suddenly they're on the attack again. They fancy it. Locadia, step over, angles tight, and Tar just runs with him, puts his shoulder in. Locadia goes down, never going to get a penalty for that, and it goes behind for the goal kick. And actually the referees come over to give it the old finger wag, none of that, otherwise you're appeal on the simulation game in 6:06.
Yeah, a little bit lousy that from Locadia. 1v1, did the right thing, threw a step over to Jonathan Tah, driving off that left-hand side, and then hit the deck. There's one for the simulation game, but let's forget the simulation game. What a story, this first half of the first half, and you see the Curaçao players, they are pumped.
Wow. Story developing in Houston. Germany totally in control from the start of the game. Early goal from Mecha. One of the moments of the World Cup. The celebrations from the players and the fans, quite something to behold. And Livano Comenencia, his third goal for his country. He actually scored in qualifying a really important goal in a home win against Jamaica. And because it was such a massive win for Curaçao, donated his shirt to the FIFA Museum. So you can see that shirt in there. Where this shirt is going to go today, I have absolutely no idea. But let's see what this goal means as well, because Germany have been pegged back. Phil Jones, part of our coverage on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, the former England international. I mean, Phil, you said before the game you wanted to see some threats, some impetus, some ambition from Curaçao. What a fabulous moment that was.
Yeah, what an incredible story. We talked at the top of the show about Curaçao having some bravery and courage in possession, and then on those attacking transitions, and it's exactly what happened. You know, they got the goal, and fully deserved. I thought, you know, they started the game in the first 5 minutes really well. Okay, they had to soak up a bit of pressure. You know, Leroy Sané and Wirtz coming in off the flanks and causing problems. Little 1-2s created the first goal, and Mecha with a great finish. But Curaçao have stayed in the game, and you know they've defended well-ish in certain moments of the game, and on attacking transition they've just proven that they can be deadly as well.
So 1-1. Dick Advocat is out there surrounded by his players, getting the drinks on board. Nagelsmann's had a word with the Germany team. They've already broken away and moved back into their half. Germany 1, Curaçao 1.
And you know what? You think of the momentum Curaçao had, you know, after the goal and Locadia driving into the box. You just, I mean, dare I say, you think this really suits Germany, this first break. So let's see whether Curaçao can keep that momentum. But Dick Advocat always has a plan. His team's always well set up and carry a threat. Dick Dastardly, you could say.
Took a deflection off a knee. It was a well-hit shot from Comenencia. Seeing some of the replays of the celebrations as well, all the Curaçao substitutes in a line on the edge of the pitch, and Comenencia goes racing down the whole line with his hand out, giving all of them a low 5. Here's your list of famous World Cup upsets. This is on at the moment. Germany 1, Curaçao 1. Let's take you back to 1950. England lost to the USA, the final actually in 1950. One of the great World Cup upsets in the Maracanã. Uruguay beat Brazil. North Korea beat Italy in 66. Northern Ireland, the Jerry Armstrong goal against Spain in 1982. Cameroon against Argentina in 1990. Ray Houghton's goal. USA 94. Republic of Ireland beat Italy. Senegal beating France.
But you're talking
2002.
You're talking about big countries, well-populated countries. Curaçao, population 150,000.
Yeah.
Same as Norwich. It's the same as Norwich, Bruce.
Had to get it in there. We're back underway. Germany 1, Curaçao 1. Don't accidentally now want to start calling Curaçao Norwich. That would be a disaster. Here's Sané. So Germany, a little bit of a kick up the backside for them. Tar passes forward to Sané. He's in central midfield. Locadia's breathing down his neck. Schlotterbeck, side-footed pass here to Musiala. Works his way past Bacuna continues his run, Musiala to the right, and then gets a bump in the back from Leandro Bacuna's fighting hard for that ball for Curaçao. Musiala somehow twisting and turning has won a free kick. 2 defenders on him. In the space of a phone box, they're wriggled out of trouble and wins the free kick for Germany. Germany 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant from Musiala how he wriggled out of that, surrounded by 3 Curaçao defenders. And here's a chance, Kimmich, by the right-hand touchline. Can they work something?
20 minutes left in the first half. What a story, what a moment for Curaçao. Smallest nation ever to play at the World Cup against Germany. Look where Manuel Neuer's standing, Chris. Look out there. Centre spot at the moment. Germany have a free kick. Just short of the byline on the right. Kimmich goes for a deep one to the far post. Attack! Heading tipped over the bar by Room. Good strong hand to it. Schlotterbeck with the header, denied by the Curaçaoan goalkeeper. And again, those Curaçaoan fans were packed in behind that goal away to our right. Every moment, every touch, every bit of brilliance from one of their players gets roared to the rooftops.
Schlotterbeck, actually, I think he should do better with the header. It's just above Room, Curaçao goalkeeper. Got up well, he's got to try and direct that back across into the far corner. It was a comfortable save in the end.
Nathaniel Brown, Germany's left back, with his hands on his hips, shirt untucked, will take this corner from the right. Shrill blast on the whistle. Wirtz is the option short, goes into the near post. Room punches. Schlotterbeck made the run to the near post there, was looking for the glancing header. Back wide on the right here with Brown. Wirtz, one touch, then the pass, the flick from Musiala. Nearly found Havertz on the diagonal. Havertz is still lurking there inside the penalty area. Musiala keeps his balance, heads for the byline. Sliding challenge is a really good one, as Chris said. That was Armando Obispo, the left-sided centre-back. Gets a foot on the ball, it goes behind for another corner. Yeah. Germany have cranked it up again here, Chris.
Yeah, Musiala being integral at this moment in time, but Obispo lunge there, had to make contact with the ball. He did do, last ditch, terrific defending.
Corner in from that right hand side, deep to the far post. Schlotterbeck heads it back across goal this time. Hansen took his time there, not sure he knew he had a man right behind him. Flicks it away with his right foot, throw in for Germany down by the corner flag on the right.
You know the corner before that, Room elected to punch. He could have caught that easily. And Germany just really putting the pressure on again now.
Germany have been stung out in the group stages at the last couple of World Cups, losing opening games at the last 2 tournaments. 4 years ago that was against Japan. 4 years before that it was against Mexico. Here they're 1-1 against Curaçao. Wirtz is wide on the right. A little bit of trickery again. Dummies the cross with his right foot. Fools 2 defenders. Back it comes to Sane. Sane slides it across the face of the box. Pavlovic shoots, takes a deflection and goes behind for the corner. And Room, the goalkeeper, celebrates with Comenencia. The goal scorer is fired up.
Yeah, well, it's Comenencia with the block just in front of Room. They're getting too deep, Curaçao, allowing that shot from 18 yards. Schlotterbeck on target, important block, and the old celebration now. That's the game has changed, Bruce. Defenders making a block, they celebrate like they've scored.
Corner again for Germany. Pressure on Curaçao at the moment. Germany 1, Curaçao 1. I think I'm right in saying still only 1 clean sheet. No, that's not right, is it? Scotland kept a clean sheet against Haiti yesterday, and in your game Mexico beat South Africa 2-0. I think those are the only 2 in the tournament so far. Corner for Germany with pace again, heading for the far post, headed away. Ball drops down outside the Curaçaoan penalty area in the left back position. Fonville, the left back, knocks it forward, bounces for Chong. He's got a runner on his right and he didn't see him. Lecardia was in loads of space on the right hand side. Chong didn't hear him, didn't see him, didn't play the passing, gets another chance now, trying to get away down the left. He's tackled and Sane onto it for Germany.
What a chance though for Curaçao. Chong got it wrong, didn't he? Poor decision. Should have gone right to Lecardia, who would have been in 1v1.
15 minutes left. Intriguing first half. Great watch. Germany 1, Curaçao 1. Sane going through the gears, picking up pace, trying to slide the pass through to Musiala. Germany looking a bit open as well now, though, as Curaçao come on the counter. Chong comes back into his own half. Bacuna, that is Juninho Bacuna's given the ball away. Kimmich passes here to Mecha. Mecha turns. Curaçao back off. Short pass forward to Wirtz at walking pace, not even looking at the ball there, knows it's tied to his right boot. Kimmich involved, out wide to Sane. Kimmich in support in the inside right channel, 45 yards from the Curaçao goal. Livano Comenencia, remember the name, scorer of Curaçao's first ever goal at a World Cup. Musiala trying to thread one through there to Mecha, nearly found him. Crucial block. Bacuna, lovely flick there from Hansen. Back to Chong. Chong runs away from Musiala. Tries to get the pass out to the right, but Wirtz was back there to block it. Central position, looking for the run here. As Sane hits the shot, that's blocked. Another chance might come to Havertz. He goes down inside the penalty area. Not going to get a penalty for that. Sane goes down wide on the left, and he's not going to get anything with that either. And that is going to be a Curaçao throw in the right back position, but Curaçao were opened up there for a second.
Yeah, was it Fonville actually, last ditch defending, which was absolutely crucial. Yeah, he does well, the left back. Sane gets the run on him, but he actually doesn't give up. He should track the run quicker, but credit him for getting back. That may have been heading in the finish from Sane.
Germany 1, Curaçao 1. Germany having won their last 9 games of football, not winning this one at the moment. Curaçao doing themselves real credit, playing some football here too. Fonville was on the charge forward, the pass from Bacuna not quite accurate enough so he could take it in his stride. Germany in the white shirts, bringing the ball out from inside their own half. Forward to Mecha. Mecha runs away from Juninho Bacuna. Low pass to the left back, Nathaniel Brown. Wirtz takes up the running. Cuts in field, finds Mecha. Mecha working it onto his right foot. Space wide on the right for Sane. Corner of the Curaçaoan penalty area. 2 blue shirts in his way. Rolls it back to Kimmich. Referee gets in the way. Kimmich not bothered. Kills the cross in deep. It's beyond Musiala and it bounces harmlessly behind for a goal kick to Curaçao.
Sure, Kimmich having a word with the referee. Just get out of the way and let me play.
Goal kick for Curaçao. Room, the goalkeeper, will receive it from Obispo. Side foot's a meaty pass here to Bazua, who won 6 caps for the Netherlands before making his debut against Trinidad and Tobago back in September for Curaçao, having switched allegiance. Nagelsmann looking a little hot and bothered, the Germany manager at the moment. Eyes on a monitor there, down in his comfortable padded seat. Nick Voltemade, I can see, warming up alongside Malik Chow on the sidelines. We've got about 10 minutes left in the first half. 1-1, Curaçao very much giving as good as they get. They knew there were going to be a few moments for them in the game. They had to profit, and Comenencia certainly did that with the equaliser.
They've got a bit of that Dutch confidence, haven't they? And as the half has gone on, they've grown with their courage, you could say their Dutch courage. They're very much in this game.
Bazua plays down the right to Floranus. There's Locadia. Locadia's drifted out to the right. Yeah, good centre-forward play. Gets it back to Chong. Wirtz sticks with Chong, makes that awkward for him. Passes back here to Obispo. Floated diagonal ball. Bounces once in front of Soncha Hansen, the Middlesbrough player. Keeps it in play. Faces up against Kimmich. Passes back here. Referee's in the way again there. Here's Bacuna trying to make space for a curling shot with his right foot. Thought he was being dragged back. Goes wide for a goal kick.
I thought he was as well, actually. Bacuna, left-hand side of the box, shifting inside on his right foot. Mecha tracked the run. And at the point when he shoots, I think he was pulled back. That would have been an interesting shooting position for Curaçao.
Brown for Germany. Back to Schlotterbeck. Curaçao back off into their own half. Jonathan Tah comfortably able to bring the ball up to the halfway line. Short pass to his right to Kimmich. Back to Tah. Walking, ball at his feet. Wirtz comes short, lays it back to him. Targeting lots of touches here. Wirtz involved again, but Germany not going anywhere, just knocking it around, trying to keep Curaçao moving. Kimmich involved again, just inside the Curaçao half, across the halfway line to Tah. Plenty of movement ahead of him from the likes of Havertz, Musiala and Wirtz. Brown is very high up on the left-hand side. Pavlovic with the diagonal to Wirtz. There's the run from Musiala. Handful of his shirt grabbed by Comenencia, but play continues. Clever Step over from Wirtz to let the ball run. There's Kimmich to Pavlovic. Poor first touch from him, ball got away from him. Still it's Germany who come with Havertz. Havertz looks for the low cross. Has he won a corner for Germany? Yes, he has. 9 minutes left in the first half. Germany 1, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, Musiala looks so silky, doesn't he?
Short corner taken quickly down the byline. No, they're not going to allow that. Why's the referee stop that?
Was the ball not in the
quadrant?
I think so.
Was it still rolling?
And I think the German players are really unhappy about that. I get that. Maybe it wasn't in the quadrant, but Havertz alert and
quick pass. Exactly, quick thinking. Caught Curaçao out. Not quite sure what was wrong with that. Jalal Jaed, Moroccan referee, first central referee from Morocco, had a World Cup since 2002. Seen a bit of pushing and shoving inside the penalty area.
Yeah.
Who's he calling towards him there, Chris?
Is that Mecha?
Floranus. And yes, Floranus. So 3 Germany players in that 6-yard box. Corner comes in from Brown, headed in. Excellent delivery. Schlotterbeck on the end of it, rolls his right sleeve up, shows the size of his bicep, and Germany flexing their muscles. They're back in front. Germany 2, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, they go man for man from the set plays. Curaçao and Schlotterbeck had an opportunity to score earlier from a header. It's a good ball in, left-footed, whipped in, and Schlotterbeck makes his run across the 6-yard line, uses the pace of the ball and just diverts the ball down into the net, pass room. The Curaçao goal, as simple as you like. Runner is dropped. It drops Schlotterbeck, and it's an easy header. He just has to concentrate on the connection. As I say, pace on the ball. Nagelsmann up on his bench, off his bench, and celebrates. The Germans had a problem, not anymore.
Problem in Houston for Germany, but back in front, leading by 2-1. Nico Schlotterbeck with his first goal for the national team. So they're 2-1 in front. Closing stages of the first half on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, your 24-hour World Cup station. 3 more commentaries on the way after this one to take you into the early hours. Netherlands-Japan kicks off at 9 o'clock UK time, Group F getting underway. Then the other game in this group kicks off at midnight. Chris Coles and Efan Okoku will bring you commentary of Ivory Coast against Ecuador. You can also watch that game on BBC television. It's being played in Philadelphia. Sweden-Tunisia kicks off at 3 a.m. Maz Faruqi and Clinton Morrison with the commentary there. And then from 1 o'clock tomorrow, I'm losing track of the days already, that is Monday, Steve Crossman will be presenting in 5 Live's New York Diner. Don't know whether we're going to get a chance to visit that or not, Chris, but Julien Laurent and former Scotland international Jen Beattie with Steve Crossman there, ahead of Spain against Cape Verde, kicks off at 5 o'clock tomorrow. This is Germany 2, Curaçao 1. Havertz under pressure from Juninho Bacuna, who was just a little over enthusiastic in the challenge free kick.
I mean, he's looking like he's hard done by Havertz. Got his body in, drew the foul from Bacuna.
Here's Tar inside the Curaçao half. Pavlovic drops in between the centre-backs. Plenty of time to pick his pass out to Wirtz. Wirtz infield to Pavlovic, gives it straight back to the Liverpool man. Mecha with a dummy on the right foot, looks to his left, there's Wirtz, little layoff edge of the box. Pavlovic tries to find Havertz, that nearly came off. Juninho Bacuna is there, could be turning into trouble on the edge of the box here, wrestle to the floor, referee says play on for now. Wirtz again, little scoop pass into the penalty area to the right, and Sane not quite on the same wavelength, goes chasing after the ball and then runs into Fonville. Fonville uses his body to let the ball go behind for the goal kick to Curaçao. 5 minutes left in the first half.
First time that is that Wirtz has given the ball away, just from Curaçao's perspective. Juninho Bacuna holding on to the ball for too long. Can't be as greedy as that. Needs to pop it off, and he makes a yard of space. Just pop it off to a blue shirt.
Ball down the right-hand side from Bazua up towards Lacardia. Wirtz, it's one of the things Nagelsmann loves about Wirtz, is the work rate, the application to the defensive duties as well as all the beautiful attacking stuff that he does, and he was back there helping out, and now he's looking for space, hugging that touchline on the left. Players like little Lego figures way down beneath us on this pitch in Houston. Brown to Wirtz. Wirtz brings the ball to the corner of the box, finds Musiala, beats his man, still Musiala, rolls it to his left, goalkeeper room, comes out quickly, slides at the feet of Havertz and grabs that ball. Germany 2, Curaçao 1.
It's unbelievable. Musiala, you mentioned it, tight areas. He uses his body so well, and the quickness of his feet. He's a superb wriggler, isn't he?
Yeah. His last season ruined, or half of it at least, by clash with Donnarumma in the Club World Cup here last summer. Bad injury he suffered there, took him out for the first half of the season. Back now, great to see him. Oh, Acuna trying to find Locadia.
Just the extra touch, he could have gone first time. Locadia in.
Yeah, Locadia was in on the right-hand side. Acuna took the extra touch and the pass got blocked, but there are opportunities here for Curaçao. Got themselves back level through this man, Comenencia. He's dribbling it down the left. Back to Bacuna. Musiala gets a foot in, makes the tackle. Now Curaçao have got to be careful. Late in the first half, because Wirtz is on the ball and Nathaniel Brown goes flying past him at full speed. Gets onto that pass, chasing his Floranus to get back there and cover it. Brown stops on the corner of the back box, turns, plays it back there to Pavlovic. 1-2 between him and Mecha. Wirtz again, ball at his feet. A little bit of disguise there, tempting the defender to try and make the challenge. Mecha lays it off to Pavlovic. Back it comes to Kimmich. Central position 30 yards out. Mecha, clever first-time layoff to Schlotterbeck, who scored the goal, the header that's got Germany back in front here in Houston. Wirtz, clever dribbling again. Floranus makes the block and it goes behind for a Germany corner. They lead 2-1 against Curaçao.
Yeah, it's important Curaçao defend this set piece properly. Conceded off the last one. They'll be so disappointed. They want to hang on in there. If they go in 2-1 down at half-time, still very much in this game.
Yeah. And that last corner, of course, the Schlotterbeck header came just after the referee had stopped Germany, taking a quick one, and Germany said, well, we'll do one of our other set-piece routines. Perfect ball in towards the near post. Schlotterbeck got on the end of it, and that's why they're leading 2-1. Kimmich will take this one, leaning himself against the advertising hoarding, gives the ball a good thump, curling into the far post. Schlotterbeck wins the header again every single time, nods it down, blocked, and it goes behind for another corner. They look for him at every single one, Chris, don't they?
He has got one hell of a leap, hasn't he?
Yeah. Another corner coming for Germany. Havertz, like an NBA player, spins the ball out of his hands, drops it at the feet of the left back, Nathaniel Brown. Germany 2, Curaçao 1. This is a 7th corner for Germany in the first half. Curaçao haven't won any yet, but they have got themselves on the score sheet, and as Chris was saying, need to keep Germany out here. Floated ball into the near post. Room comes and punches again. This drops at the feet of Hansen. Hansen lofts the clearance up in the air. Good first touch from Kimmich. Scoop pass on the half volley to his left. Last minute of the first half here. What's Musiala got up his sleeve? He's got a bit of trickery and movement. Down to the byline he goes, looks for the cutback, blocked at the near post. Comenencia gets a touch, shot on the turn, comes back here and laid off. Driven shot blocked on the line by Bacuna. Havertz goes with a header, clash of heads in the box there. He's hurt, but Curaçao have managed to get the ball away for now, and Hansen is then shoulder to shoulder with Wirtz, goes down, and that is actually going to be a throw-in to Germany. 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Germany lead Curaçao 2-1, but they were living dangerously there, Chris.
I love some of the last-ditch defending from Curaçao. I think it's Bacuna with the block. It was heading in on 3 or 4 occasions, and they just get a body instinct. They're hanging on in there. They've been, since the second German goal, they've been really pushed back, pegged back.
Yeah, Germany cranking it up here at the end of the first half. Added time. Sane, whose effort was blocked in that last attack. Scoop pass from Kimmich, looking for the run there of Havertz. That's cleared only as far as Sane. Sane runs into the challenge of Hansen and his tackle. Pass comes back here to Juninho Bakuna, who does like a dribble inside his own half, does well this time, turns, floats a pass down the left-hand touchline. Chong is making it awkward there for Tar, wins it off him, keeps the ball, and suddenly this opens up for Curaçao and Comenencia. Powerful midfielder on the ball, central position 35 yards out. Germany get bodies in the way. Comenencia still going, feeds the pass to Hansen on his right foot, low shot, and Chong could have got a touch on that. I think he thought it was going to be hit with more power. It went past him, and Neuer is able to make a comfortable save and then slings the ball out a mighty distance to find Havertz. Havertz tackled by Obispo. Germany still have it though in an attacking position. They're leading 2-1. That's Pavlovic outside of the right foot. Musiala, first time ball. Havertz wasn't expecting that, and Curaçao get it back to their goalkeeper Eloy Room. Takes one touch inside his 6-yard box, thumps it up towards the halfway line. Locadia gets a barge in the back from Schlotterbeck, doesn't like it, complains no free kick. Curaçao have to concentrate here because Wirtz is on the turn. 1-2 with Havertz. Dizzying movement from the German players in the white shirts in the Curaçao penalty area. Brown's cross, cut back here, looking for Mecha. Mecha's gone down, was he caught? Referee says penalty. Mecha took a touch, went past the defender, he went down late, but there was no reason to go down if there wasn't contact there, Chris. Fell to the floor, the referee had a good view, and he's pointed to the spot for a Germany penalty.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any great protest from the Curaçao defenders. I think it was Bazoa. I mean, the Mecha there went down, you're right, he was in shooting range. That's a really careless challenge from Bazoa. Dives in, catches him with his right boot on right boot. And what a chance for Germany to go 3 and easy.
Kimmich has the ball in his hand, but he's doing that thing as the Germany captain of just protecting the penalty spot here. He's standing right on top of the penalty spot. Musiala's close to him. I mean, Havertz, I would have thought would fancy the penalty, but he's standing on the edge of the box with his hands on his hips. Kimmich is going to make the decision here. Yeah, and it's been agreed. Musiala, little high five with Kai Havertz, who has a good goal-scoring record at major tournaments for Germany. Played in 3 of them, 6 goals. 2 at the last World Cup against Costa Rica in the final group game. Couple of penalties, actually, in the last major tournament, the Euros 2 years ago against Scotland and Denmark. Scorer of a goal in the Champions League final as well, of course, for Arsenal. Can Eloy Room, the 37-year-old goalkeeper from Miami FC, prove himself a hero for those thousands of Curaçaoan fans directly behind him here? Havertz is a cool customer normally, though, from the penalty spot. His forehead wreathed with beads of sweat, hands on hips. Curaçaoan fans trying to distract him, urged on by Locadia. There's the whistle. Can Havertz get the 3rd goal in the first half for Germany? Runs at the ball, delays, strokes it in. Cool as you like from Kai Havertz. His first goal at this World Cup, and that makes it much more comfortable for Germany. Just before half-time, they lead Curaçao by 3 goals to 1.
Yeah, the Mannschaft are where they want to be. Read the room, didn't he? Kai Havertz, really clever penalty. Room diving to his left-hand side. Havertz slotting it to his right. And it's comfortable now for Germany. It's a shame for Curaçao that they've conceded just before half-time the 3rd goal. You can see the disappointment amongst their players. That seems significant. The penalty again, Havertz just looks at Room all the way. And then a little stutter and pops it in.
I'm going to struggle to keep up with you at this World Cup. Read the room that's a good one. I like that, Chris. Bakuna, the captain for Curaçao, they kick off, but that is it. Last action in the first half, and Kai Havertz has extended Germany's lead. Really entertaining first half. Germany taking control early on through the Mecha goal. That is well worth watching back on the iPlayer and the BBC Sport website. But then the moment for Curaçao, the equaliser from Comenencia to get them back in the game, stung Germany into life. Schlotterbeck with the header from the set piece, and the penalty conceded late in the first half, brilliantly stuck away by Kai Havertz. So Germany at half-time, Chris, lead Curaçao by 3 goals to 1, but they got a scare.
They did get a scare, and the German powerhouses going in 3-1 up. We were curious about Curaçao and the way they were going to set up, but they did carry a threat going forward. Didn't make the most of other opportunities with poor last passes, but the goal, wonderful moment for Comenencia. But then Germany finding a way, set piece, always disappointing when you concede goals off set pieces. Schlotterbeck with a towering header, and then getting the third before half-time seems like a bit of a killer blow for Curaçao.
Yeah, let's see how Germany try and go about it in the second half, and what will Curaçao have in response as well. But that moment, Mark, the Comenencia goal will stay with me for a long time. At half-time, Germany 3, Curaçao 1.
Ali, Chris, thank you so much. Former England centre-half Phil Jones alongside us, watching that in our Salford base. And Phil, it's always enjoyable to watch the underdogs, isn't it? Really, really enjoyable to see what they can do, what they can bring to the tournament. As Ali said in commentary, Germany just flexing that muscle.
Yeah, no, I think Curaçao giving a good account of themselves. It was always going to be a tall order, a difficult task, but I thought they defended reasonably well in numbers, tried to block the middle of the pitch and force them wide. Conceded an early goal, which was a great goal, a little combination from Germany, great little finish, but they carried a threat, and Locadia up front, offered, in those transition moments when you've been under pressure for long periods of the game, he gave them a chance to, offer his support and bring players into play, and they looked a threat on the break. They had the, pace, albeit a little bit of a deflection, got a bit lucky, you need that at times, but got back into the game. But I think as the game wore on in the first half, I think Germany, especially with Leroy Sané and Florian Wirtz and Havertz, they were causing all sorts of problems and little 1-2s and combinations, and they found it a bit difficult.
Chris, do you think the hydration break maybe let the air out of the balloon for Curaçao a bit, and then the second goal just, deflated it fully?
Sorry, Aaron. Chris was just distracted there. We were just going to head off and get ourselves our own hydration break. Chris, you're back on here. Aaron, what was the question?
The question was, do you think that the hydration break maybe let a bit of the air out the balloon for Curaçao, maybe kicked the momentum a bit, but then the second goal just did it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I said before the game, I understand the hydration breaks, but there's no doubt that it did. It's a wonderful moment, as Ali said, and then they had the opportunity, Locadia driving into the box just after that, and Curaçao had the momentum, and Germany were able to regroup and just started to really exert their control on the game. And then I was thinking, blimey, you look up at the clock and you think if Curaçao can get to half-time level, what a brilliant result that would have been for them. And then, set play, careless penalty to give away, it could be a long second half. But I think, all things being equal, they have given a pretty decent account of themselves.
Enjoy your hydration break, Chris. Ali, thank you so much. Back in Houston for second half commentary shortly. Rafa Honigstein is with us as well, EuroLeague regular, German football expert. Rafa, how will Julian Nagelsmann have viewed that first half?
Well, I think he'd be upset about the goal. Of course, you shouldn't really concede against Curaçao, with all the greatest respect in the world. But the reaction was fine. Germany didn't panic. They kept playing their game. They kept creating little chances, little movement that maybe if the final ball would have been better, then they would have been even more comfortable. But I think now in the second half, everything is set up for them to dominate and manage the game really well. So I think by and large, you'll say, look, just focus on that final pass. Let's not make any silly mistakes on the break. We are clearly the better side. Just keep playing football and the goals will come. I think you get the sense that this could easily be 5 or 6 if Germany keep the focus up.
Phil, must have been quite enjoyable watching some of that Curaçao last-ditch defending. Bit of a throwback to what we see from you at Manchester United at points.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a case of that, trying to throw bodies on the line and being brave. But what impressed me the most is, of course, Germany have more quality and will comfortably win the game. But you have to show bravery and courage in possession, and Curaçao did that at times. I thought, they offered a threat. They had the pace on the break, and created some half decent chances. I thought Germany in two or three moments in the game were poor in possession, gifted conceded possession. So they'll have to sharpen up and concentrate. And I'm sure Germany concentrate, and I'm sure they'll win the game comfortably now.
I was going to say, Rafa, how does Julian Nagelsmann make sure there's no second wave from Curaçao?
Well, I think the fact that they did concede the goal actually helps them in that way. They know that Curaçao cannot be taken too lightly, that they have to focus. Of course, they know that they're the better side, but if they switch off, as they did, and if they allow them to have possession in the wrong spaces and are not quite aggressive enough against the ball, then they can score with a bit of luck. So I think that he doesn't have to tell them much, because they have seen if you don't focus, if you don't do the work off the ball, you can create problems for yourself even when you play Curaçao. So I think the team talk is an easy one. We know what can happen. Don't let this happen. Play your game. Make sure you don't concede silly moments on the break, and go and score 2-3 more goals. And I think they will.
The big positive, though, for Germany, Rafa, will be Florian Wirtz. This is the Florian Wirtz that we expected to see last season in the Premier League at Liverpool, but he's shone.
He has. I think it's a combination of things. First of all, Germany have so much possession. There is little pressure on them when they have possession, because Curaçao is so deep. So for a player like him, that is a beautiful position to be in. The playmaker, he looks up, he can pick his ball, his pass. There's lots of movement off him. There's 1 and 2s. They would have worked on that, creating spaces, playing between the lines, all the things he does so well. He has Musiala there, who's getting better. He has Sané, who's looked half decent. Who's Havertz, who loves to come deep and combine. And it's a great setup. And Curaçao, are a different kind of opposition that the one you face in the Premier League. I think we have to make that point. He enjoys it because it's just a different game, and it's more geared towards his strength.
Phil, can we expect Germany to extend their lead in the second half?
Yeah, I fully expect them to win the game comfortably now. They've been in full control of the game in terms of possession and chances created. It's just about keeping concentrated at the back and limiting the unforced errors.
Rafa, Phil, thank you so much for the moment. Ali and Chris back with second half commentary shortly. Some other lines of sports news to bring you this Sunday evening. Lewis Hamilton has claimed his first victory for Ferrari in the Barcelona-Catalunya Grand Prix. George Russell finished second, Lando Norris in third to make up the first all-British podium since 1968. In tennis, Emma Raducanu has lost the final of Queens in straight sets to Croatia's Donna Vekic. Real Madrid, meanwhile, have agreed a fee for the Chelsea fullback Marc Cucurella. The Spain international is expected to move after the World Cup for a fee of around £47.5 million plus add-ons. And in cricket, India have begun the Women's T20 World Cup with a 64-run win over arch rivals Pakistan at Edgbaston. First up, though, on 5 Live, or before we head back to Houston, let's get the latest BBC News with Richard Foster.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Thanks, Aaron. Good evening. President Trump insists a peace deal with Iran is still on track to be signed in a few hours, despite Israeli strikes on Lebanon delaying the plan. The president's angry with Israel after its military had targeted infrastructure that it says was linked to the Iranian-backed group Hezbollah in Beirut. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has thanked the UK's armed forces for detaining an oil tanker belonging to Russia's Shadow Fleet in the Channel this morning. Royal Marine Commandos were part of the 6-hour operation to board the ship. Police have arrested 15 people after protests outside a synagogue in northwest London. Videos posted online show people carrying Palestinian and Israeli flags outside the Edgware United Synagogue. The government's going to reduce its electric car sales targets. Under the current rules, 80% of all new cars sold in the UK are supposed to be electric by 2030, but that's going to be watered down under pressure from car makers and trade unions. And trains from London to Gatwick Airport and Brighton have been suspended after sinkholes were discovered near a bridge outside Purley. They were found during planned engineering work. Urgent repairs are needed.
Throughout the World Cup, 5 Live Breakfast is coming to you live from the USA.
This is huge for the United States. We have the World Cup here, biggest sporting event in the world.
I don't need to buy diamonds, but my wife is 7 months pregnant, so I'm negotiating my own terms.
Go now. Let's bring it home, US, baby.
The rest of the world is not ready to see what USA has in store. So yeah, they're in for a treat now.
5 Live Breakfast.
Ask your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup 2026.
With Aaron Paul.
On 5 Live Sports.
Where in Group E is Germany 3, Curaçao 1. We will be back for the second half shortly. We have got you covered right through the evening here on 5 Live to keep you up to date with all the goings on at the 2026 FIFA World Cup at 3 a.m. Maz Faruqi and Clinton Morrison will be here with commentary of Sweden against Tunisia. At midnight, we'll bring you Ivory Coast versus Ecuador with Chris Carls and Efan Akoku. And at the end of Germany versus Curaçao in Houston, we'll be in Dallas for Netherlands versus Japan, where we find Paul Robinson and John Murray. Evening, both, afternoon, both.
Yes. Hello from the north of Texas, Aaron. That's where we are here in Arlington, actually, which is between Fort Worth and Dallas. It's about equidistant between the two. This amazing stadium that we're sitting in. But just for a little bit more geography, I notice up to the northwest we've got Wichita Falls, and out to the west we've got Abilene. So that's where we are.
John, why can I imagine you've got everything out? You've got the guidebook, you've got the camera around your neck, you're out there really just taking it all in.
I can tell you there's a lot of cameras around Japanese necks inside this stadium.
I bet they can't wait for the game. Netherlands versus
they love a photograph.
Japan.
Mind you, don't we all these days?
Yeah, we all do. I mean, John, just first up, give us the latest on the weather, because obviously we're hearing here in the UK that there's going to be stormy conditions in Dallas. There were some expected in Houston, potentially in Philadelphia as well.
Well, I can tell you next time I come to this stadium on Wednesday when England play Croatia in here, I'll be wearing trousers and a long-sleeved shirt because it has got the roof closed and we've got the air conditioning on. So inside it is actually a little chilly. Outside, pleasantly warm. It's the coolest day that I've experienced so far in Texas. I think it was round about high 20s, I think the temperature, but it's overcast. And I think that's going to be the way of it today. So that's outside, but inside we are very much in air-conditioned splendour.
Paul Robinson, how you finding Texas?
Very much enjoying it. Yeah, it's been a really good experience. The fan parks in and around the city where we're staying, around Fort Worth. It's been a good experience. The two sets of fans have been mixing, and obviously because the place is so vast, you don't get a real concentration of anyone. There's quite a lot of Dutch fans. There's a big fan park near our hotel, so no, it's been a really good experience. And coming to the stadium today for my first game, as I say, very, very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this is tasty, isn't it? Netherlands versus Japan.
Yeah, there's been a few games in the first round that have failed to live up to expectations, and in all honesty they've been poor. And you look at some of the fixtures, you think, okay, that's not really exciting me, but this is one of the ones where you think there's two teams here that could go under the radar. We saw Japan in the March friendlies against England and Scotland beat them both. They're a strong unit. They're missing a couple of players, which they will feel that today. And the Netherlands, they're always talked about at tournaments, and they're kind of going under the radar, but there's some people's outside favourites for the tournament. I don't think they'll go all the way, but they certainly have the potential to do that. It's going to be a really good game, this one, Aaron.
John, they always come in as the outside favourites, don't they, the Netherlands? And I know Ronald Koeman has had injuries to deal with. This is still a very, very capable squad, though.
Yeah, we know that they got to the semi-finals at the Euros a couple of years ago, and in the last World Cup in Qatar in 2022, they went out in the quarter-finals to Argentina, so the eventual winners. And this is probably going to be Ronald Koeman's last go. We'll see. I suppose it depends what happens, doesn't it, in the tournament. I think the expectation is that they'll go deep into the tournament with the quality and the talent that they've got. I think there's a question up front, but we'll see about that. They might be able to make up for that. Cody Gakpo obviously has got a very good record as a goal scorer with the Netherlands, but at the same time I feel that Japan have the ability as well to go long into the tournament. They've had a brilliant year of build-up to this. They've lost one of their last 13. They won against Brazil in Japan, and as we know, in March they won at both Hampden and Wembley. Well, that's not a bad double for Japan, the first Asian team to beat England when they won in the second of those friendlies in March. And they are a good side. We know that from seeing them against England and Scotland in March.
Phil Jones also alongside us, former England defender. Phil, there's something quite endearing about Japan. I don't know what it is, but you enjoy watching them. You enjoy learning about the supporters that go and clean the ground after they've been in there as well. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of the show, how the dark horses, and everybody's tipping them to be the dark horses. Every time I've watched them play, they've played with a real intensity and aggression, technically very good players. So look, they'll give Netherlands a really tough test today. We talked about Netherlands being in the sort of same category as maybe Germany coming into the tournament, how they've got very good individual players, but sort of collectively they've not quite proven that in tournaments over the past few years. So it's a big World Cup for Netherlands as well.
That one to come from Group F in the company of John Murray and Paul Robinson's. The Netherlands versus Japan kicking off at 9 o'clock. Let's head back, though, to Houston for the second half of Germany versus Curaçao with Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce-Bull.
Thank you, Aaron. Second half kicking off any second here under the roof in Houston. So, yes, John and Paul under the roof in Dallas after this game today. Chris and I will be making our way towards Dallas, hooking up with them later on this evening. Change made for Curaçao at half-time. Jeremy Antonissa is coming on for Soncha Hansen. So Antonissa, I mentioned him before the game, was the player who made the challenge in the final group game in the qualifier against Jamaica. They eventually drew 0-0, and he thought he conceded a penalty, which had Jamaica scored, then Curaçao would have been heading towards the Inter-Confederation playoffs. But VAR changed the decision. Curaçao are here, qualifying automatically for the World Cup, the smallest nation ever to play at a World Cup, and absolutely have done themselves proud so far. Went 1-0 down in the first half against Germany, currently trailing 3-1, but that fabulous equaliser from Livano Comenencia will never ever be forgotten by those thousands of Curaçao fans. Lots of them not back at their seats just yet at the start of this second half. They're behind that goal away to our right. Ginormous stadium here, steeply sided, 4 tiers, dark blue and red seats in the colours of the Houston Texans. Germany in the white shirts with the red and yellow, black trim, black shorts, white socks, passing the ball around inside their own half, and Kai Havertz's penalty right at the end of the first half has given them that 2-goal cushion. Musiala wins a foul, challenged from behind by Bazua in the middle of the Curaçao half. Kimmich gets the ball down quickly. Atmosphere's quite quiet start of the second half here compared to the start of the first half. Lots of fans still out there buying their food as the pass comes into Musiala. What a finish! What a finish from Jamal Musiala! The geometry, the angles, the precision, the confidence, and the sure-footed finishing there. Pass slid in the inside right channel. He knew exactly where he was, where the keeper was, and he's angled it across him and found the bottom corner. Special goal from a special player. Germany 4, Curaçao 1.
Yep, lift off in the second half for Germany. It's a lovely ball, wasn't it, from Kimmich? That right back area, slid a ball into the box, right-hand side of the box. The run from Musiala was exceptional, and then you're right, Bruce, the angle really, really tight, but he's got such good awareness, has a little look before the ball arrives, and is on the point of the 6-yard line. And he fires the ball past Room into the far corner. It's a wonderful finish, no chance for Room. Such an intelligent player, isn't he? A classy goal, and this could be a long second half for Curaçao.
Yeah, really could. Germany 4, Curaçao 1. That goal has come in the second minute of the second half. This the first game in Group E. Winners of this group will face one of the third place teams in the last 32, the extra round that we've got at this larger World Cup for the first time this summer. The runner-up in this group will go through to face the runner-up in Group I, and that is the group containing France, Senegal, Norway and Iraq. So you'd imagine a pretty good team is going to come out of there as runner-up, which is why I think Germany, Ecuador, Ivory Coast particularly, will want to try and win this group to give themselves the best chance in the later stages.
I think this is a really interesting group. With respect to Curaçao, you'd expect them to finish bottom. You mentioned Ecuador, really excellent in qualifying, weren't they? And then the Ivory Coast, they're a pretty interesting, decent outfit as well. So interesting group this. I was wondering, Bruce, how Curaçao would go about the second half under Dick Advocaat. Of course, who's one of Houston's famous sons, Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
One of his...
Oh, the gambler.
The gambler.
Got to know when to hold it.
Whether Dick Advocaat would gamble or not. Not now. It's about damage limitation, I think.
A manager that Chris Sutton knows well from his time in Scotland. Chris was signed as part of that Celtic team. Rangers had won a couple of titles under Dick Advocaat, and the plan was, under Martin O'Neill, try and knock them off their perch, which they managed to do. Here come Germany leading 4-1. Musiala thinking about the shot from 25 yards out. Tackled in the process. The ball runs to Kimmich, who just keeps everything ticking along really nicely for Germany. As soon as I say that, takes his eye off the ball, knocks it off both feet and loses it on the right wing, which is an absolute classic. Zane now picks up the running, bit of pace, sliding challenge on him. That'll be a free kick. Let's give you the two-team lineups at the start of the second half. Chris Sutton alongside me in Houston. Germany 4, Curaçao 1. Manuel Neuer has been beaten in this game. Hasn't a massive amount to do, and here he comes again, strolling up towards the halfway line. Wants to get involved all the time, he does. Kimmich, Tar, Schlotterbeck, Brown. Nathaniel Brown at left back. Clever free kick, worked into a tight space. Oh, wow, keeper had to make a save at the near post. And Eloy Room is absolutely livid that Mecha was able to get into that spot and hit that shot right from down by the bar. Nearly took the keeper's head off there and makes an important save.
Yeah, it's a save he should make, but all the same, really careless from Curaçao to let that free kick to be taken quickly. All fizzed in, angle really tight. It's a smart save.
Wirtz looking for Brown. Brown chops the ball back into the penalty area. It's cleared away by Floranus for Curaçao. I'll complete that Germany lineup in just a second, but Nathaniel Brown is in at left back for this game. Frankfurt defender who turns 23 in a couple of days' time. Whistle blows, free kick for Germany. They want to keep playing. They want to score some goals. They want to find some rhythm before some tough games in this group. Havertz slides it in. Musiala looking for the back heel. Might run to Sane. Trick from him. Overruns and it goes behind for the goal kick. So Pavlovic and Mecha in front of that back four for Germany. Sane, Musiala and Wirtz playing off Kai Havertz. They're leading 4-1. You would expect Nagelsmann to make some changes, wouldn't you, Chris, at some point?
Change things up and just protect some of his key players. Havertz, really integral in this German team. He likes to drift, doesn't he? Here, there, everywhere. Just in that situation, coming deep, getting on the half turn, sliding Musiala in. Didn't follow his run. Musiala, little back heel, tried to find his teammate, but they've got so many intelligent footballers, this German team.
Yeah, Nick Woltemade started all the qualifiers for Germany, regularly picked by Julian Nagelsmann, but Havertz is the central striking option, although obviously Woltemade doesn't always play in that position like under Eddie Howe, can drop a little bit deeper. Here come Curaçao. I'll give you their starting 11 in just a second. Antonis is the one change at half-time. Tahith Chong being fouled here by Brown, who had a full handful of that blue shirt with the yellow number 21 on the back of it. Referee spotted it and given a free kick to Curaçao. So you've got Eloy Room, the goalkeeper, Sherelle Floranus at right back, Deveron Fonville at left back, Richedley Bazua, Armando Obispo, the two centre-backs, the Bacuna brothers, Leandro and Juninho in midfield, with the goal scorer Livano Comenencia, who plays his club football in Switzerland. Here's Tahith Chong, one of the front three. Pacey pass to Bacuna, that's Juninho Bacuna, tackled on the edge of the box. Pavlovic plays it back to Neuer. Neuer clears with his right foot, and a clever header from Havertz into space, but he's pushed Leandro Bacuna in the back, and that will be a free kick to Curaçao. So Chong, Antonissa now, and Jurgen Lecardia, the centre-forward for Curaçao, who have become the fifth nation from the Caribbean ever to qualify for a World Cup. Haiti are here as well in this edition. Second time at the World Cup for them, formerly in 1974. Cuba did it back in 1938, Jamaica in 1998. Trinidad and Tobago actually played England at the World Cup in 2006. Germany take a throw on the right. Pace of the game has dropped. Kimmich curls across in, Wirtz chests it down, hits the shot. Curaçao in defence went asleep there, and Leandro Bacuna had to dig him out of trouble, makes the block, it goes behind for a corner. Chris?
Yeah, the experience there of Bacuna to get back, and they're just starting to tire, aren't they, Curaçao? And Kimmich with a good spot, led the ball into Wirtz. Bacuna got back and made the block.
Germany lead Curaçao 4-1. Next commentary on 5 Live is Netherlands-Japan. Cleared away by Leandro Bacuna again. Here's Neuer, halfway line, confidently powers a header forward, looks for Musiala. You could hear the reaction from the fans there, couldn't you, Chris, as well? The excitement. They know what it's like with Neuer. Throw-in taken quickly. Havertz hits the shot. That's blocked. Comes back to Wirtz. Play to the edge of the area. Pavlovic, curling effort off target, behind it goes. Shooting practice in the second half for Germany. They lead 4-1.
Yeah, I mentioned Curaçao just getting tired, getting deeper. Pavlovic striding onto the little pullback there, 18 yards out. Really should be hitting the target, should be working the goalkeeper. Yeah, getting chance after chance now. But Neuer, likes to stay in the game, doesn't he?
Famously, 8 years ago, Chris, you and I in Kazan. I mean, Germany were chasing the game, weren't they, against South Korea? Had already lost to Mexico in the group, but he got caught with the ball at his feet on the halfway line, didn't he?
I think you're being generous there. he was a left winger, wasn't he?
He was, isn't he? South Korea ran it back, stuck it in the net, and Germany exited that World Cup at the group stage.
I think he tried to throw a step over, didn't he? That was the amazing thing.
Yeah.
He would eat himself if he could.
Fifth World Cup for Manuel Neuer, which is quite a feat. Now, might be busy here. Juninho Bacuna brings it forward. The pass, though, is behind Antonissa. Germany break up play. They've got it inside their own half. Musiala looking for the run of Havertz. He drifted wide right and the pass went straighter, so Havertz won't get that. And no real urgency to chase that down. But yes, 20th World Cup appearance for Manuel Neuer. So in terms of German internationals and World Cup appearances, that puts him level with Bastian Schweinsteiger and Philipp Lahm. Uwe Seelers on 21. Miroslav Klose, who scored the most World Cup goals of any player in the history of the competition, has 24 World Cup appearances. And Lothar Matthäus has 25. If Germany go a long way in this tournament, Manuel Neuer could beat them all. Right, that's 5-1-2s there. Pavlovic and Havertz have played together a yard apart, just pinging those passes crisply and quickly. Sane down the right to Kimmich, dummies the cross with his right foot. Sane runs into space, but the pass is aimed for Mecha, intercepted by Juninho Bacuna. Mecha muscles him off the ball, and it's Kimmich who picks up possession for Germany and runs across the Curaçaoan half. 10 minutes gone, second half. Germany lead Curaçao 4-1. Mecha dummies the cross from over on the right. 1-2 with Sane, just toying with Curaçao here. Sane has the ball, whips it low with his left foot to one of the goal scorers, the centre-back Schlotterbeck. Comes wide to Wirtz. Wirtz in a one-on-one here with Floranus. Little pass infield. Musiala tackled. You can hear him howl with pain. Referee doesn't give a free kick. It's run down the right-hand side. And that will be Curaçao's ball. Germany 4, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, and the point you made there, see Musiala down on the deck now. You think, Nagelsmann, you've got to protect him. A guy who's had such a big impact on this game. And the Space City. Musiala's a player who certainly finds space in those tight areas.
Talking of that, Chris, by the way, Houston Texans, who play here, I think are slightly disappointingly named, given that the other teams and the space links that you talk about, the Houston Rockets play in the NBA and the Houston Astros play in the baseball, but it's the Houston Texans who are the NFL team here. It's Houston Dynamo, the men's football team. The Houston Dash is the women's football team. That could be a category for one of our games on a long journey. We've got a long drive to Dallas tonight. Maybe American teams and their monikers.
You have. I'm going to sleep.
That's delightful, that is. 4-hour drive to Dallas, and Chris is my only company in the car. We're dropping Wild George Cummings off at the airport. He's off elsewhere. Kimmich's ball down the right-hand side for Sane to chase. Back it comes to the goalkeeper, Roux. He didn't fancy that on the left foot. Spoons it up in the air. Havertz underneath it. Gently cushions a header to his left to Mecha.
He's a good player, isn't he, Mecha? I mean, he really adaptable. Can play in the 6 or the 8. Can play in a 10 role, I think. But gets around the pitch as well, doesn't it? In good physicality.
Curaçao fans excited. They're on the ball. They're bringing it forward. Locadia decides not to pass forward to Chong. Goes to his left. Chong is on the ball now. Once of Manchester United, now Sheffield United. Can't find Fonville behind him. Germany have the ball in their right back position. Coming up to the hour mark here in Houston, the Houston Stadium. On 5 Live, your 24-hour World Cup station. Football Daily podcast there for you every morning in the UK. That is coming from our base on the west coast. Rick Edwards and Lloyd Griffiths with that every day at the tournament. 5 Live breakfast coming live from LA2. The ball has gone wide to Sane. Pass is now getting the olays from the Germany fans. Musiala tried to lay it off to Sane, couldn't quite find him. It goes out for a throw into Germany, attacking position on the right.
Just looking around the stadium, it's not quite connected. There has been an attempted Mexican wave, hasn't there, which hasn't quite come off. A little bit like Curaçao in the second half.
That also tells you exactly where you are with the game of football, and I think you can probably
go. It's just started to.
There we go, and it does look good away to the right-hand side, and it does look good in the 3 tiers as well, as it ripples around like human dominoes. Havertz, clever pass to Brown. Goalkeeper comes flying off his line and gets there just in time. No room for error. Eloy Room is down and grabs the ball for Curaçao.
There you go. If at first you don't succeed,
it's coming our way, Chris.
Here we
joining in? No, come on. Oh, a few members of the media going for it, including Chris Sutton, so he won't get booed. Germany 4, Curaçao 1. Ivory Coast, Ecuador, the other game in this group. And England, long time for England to wait to get into this tournament. They will play in Dallas on Wednesday, 9 o'clock, kick-off UK time against Croatia, and Scotland off the back of the win against Haiti, next in action on Friday. You can hear that on 5 Live, 11 o'clock kick-off for Scotland against Morocco. Fans entertaining themselves here in Houston. Game has slowed down, Germany leading 4-1. Can I ask that question, Chris? What have we learned from watching Germany, and how much of a threat they might be in this tournament, or can we not really say that?
I think we can. Free kick goes into the box from Curaçao. Centre backs have gone forward.
Ball breaks loose on the edge of the penalty area. Hooked away by Tar to Wirtz. Wirtz looking for Musiala. That was a 50-50 that's won by Floranus. Goes out to the left-hand side to Fonville. Locadia, as ever, the willing runner. Big bulk of a man trying to turn. Tar has won the free kick, has done well. Curaçao free kick on the left.
And Jonathan Tar saying that that's not a foul. Well, it is. And big, strong, strapping guy, Jonathan Tar, and so's Locadia, who used his body really well. Tar gets too tight, and Locadia rolls him brilliantly. Has a look at the referee, says you've got to reward the foul. The referee does do. Now, this is a decent opportunity for Curaçao.
Can they get themselves a second goal? Locadia is down.
Got a bit of cramp.
Cramp. It looked like his
he's getting on a bit now, isn't he, Locadia?
Jurgen Locadia checks his notes. 32 years old. Jogs into the penalty area. Antonissa, having handed out the treatment for cramp, is the one who's going to take the free kick for Curaçao. If they could score in front of that block of Curaçao fans, that is going to be a brilliant noise, brilliant reaction, brilliant visual picture inside this stadium. In that lower tier away to our right. Big build up to this free kick. Jeremy Antonissa waits to take with his right foot. In it comes, headed just over the bar by Bacuna. And behind for the goal kick, Manuel Neuer not called into action.
Left-hand side of the box and right-footed in-swinger. Not great pace on the ball. Bacuna is a little bit behind him and is just trying to direct the header on target. Neuer has a little jump, but just comfortably goes over the bar.
Into the last half hour of this first group game in Group E, World Cup 2026, 9th game of the tournament so far. Germany, highest scorers in the tournament so far. I think before today no one had got more than 2. Germany on 4. Tar's ball over the top, brought down brilliantly by Sane, and he's put it wide.
Well, the flag didn't go up. It was touch and go whether he was offside. Sane making the run, as we often see him do, off that right-hand side, in between centre-back and full-back. Jonathan Tar, the German centre-back, lovely ball, straight ball. He is onside, played onside by Bazoa, and takes a sublime first touch with the outside of his left foot. Beautiful, the way he just sets the ball down, and you're thinking, there it is, back of the net going to bulge. He curls the ball, left-footed round the post from Room, who wasn't saving that. Big opportunity, missed.
Just keeping an eye on Julian Nagelsmann, seeing what his plans are. I think they are getting ready to make their first change. Dennis Undav is coming on, who's been in good goal-scoring form for his country in recent times, even though Julian Nagelsmann, the manager, is not always the most complimentary about him.
That's right,
but basically feels he's just a goal scorer, can't do much else. But if you're in the team for that, scored against Ghana in March, got a couple against Finland in Mainz. Musiala roared off the field, standing ovation for him. Brilliant goal we saw from him right at the start of the second half. Hearty pat on the back from his manager Musiala. And Dennis Undav is on.
Yeah, I think a smart management. Taking off one of your stars, Musiala. Speak about, was it Thomas Muller we saw at the airport in Mexico, myself and producer George. He was the Raumdeuter, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah.
Musiala has that ability to find space. Slightly different players.
Jill Margarita has come on up front for Curaçao to replace Jurgen Locadia, which reminds me, I did mean to ask you, given that Margarita is on the field and chasing a ball here into the Germany box, Neuer quickly off his line and down and grabs it. Have you ever tried? Oh, hang on, Neuer's giving it away. He's rolled it straight out here to Bakuna. Bakuna side puts a pass to Antonissa. Antonissa finds Chong. Two defenders close him down. Chong back to Floranus. Chong receives it again. Can't hold off Undav. Undav turns it round the corner to Pavlovic. Intercepted by Comenencia. Now Antonissa for Curaçao in these bold blue shirts and the yellow trim. Floranus to Leandro Bakuna, and Chong is asked to chase the ball back to the halfway line. Turns.
Just going to say about Margarita, want to get a piece of the action, won't he?
Cross comes in from Bakuna, bounces once. Tar had to watch that carefully, throws a right foot at it, studs the ball away. Schlotterbeck chips it out of the box. Bakuna's gone down, caught by Undav. Free kick. What are you laughing at?
The one thing about Margarita who's come on, look at his shorts. I mean, they look...
Oh, wow,
they look far too big for him.
It's like, really unusual.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a teenager who's borrowed his dad shorts.
But what he's done there, Chris, I think he's Simon Cowled it, because he's got the waistband quite high. You know, like a heavyweight boxer, they try and get that belt as high as they can. Because quite often, I think the fashion, I think I'd be right in saying, is to wear them sort of low slung. But he's tucked them in.
That may be the new fashion.
It could be. Yeah. They're over his belly button. That's a great spot there by Chris. Here comes the free kick into the box, headed away. Shot. Oh, he must be offside. They're going to knock it in the back of the net. Antonissa. They'll celebrate the goal. But the Curaçao fans know well. Couple of players in an offside position there, and it won't count. So Germany still lead Curaçao by 4-1. Have you ever tried the drink Curaçao, synonymous with the island?
No, I haven't. No.
It is a bitter orange-based liqueur flavoured with the dried peel of a citrus fruit called the Laraja. Curaçao.
Do you know what?
Indigenous to the island.
Never heard of that.
Well, the drink. You've never heard of the drink?
I've heard of that. Laraja.
No, never heard of that. You went banana sandwich at breakfast, didn't you? You said they're underrated, the banana sandwich.
That's underrated. My great-grandma used to enjoy a banana sandwich,
Banana sandwich. You had a boiled egg there. And I know you grew up on goat's milk as well, didn't you? All the secrets to...
OK on cereal.
Chris Sutton's success. Metcha's ball forward. Here's Sane. Undav making a run. Sane's looking for him. Couldn't get that pass through. Sane takes the tumble edge of the box. No foul. Cleared away by Curaçao. No one forward for them there. And the ball runs loose into the Germany half.
I mean, it's an interesting selection, Sane, isn't he? Because
you think say your breakfast choices.
That's a good point. But I mean, he's quite an experienced player now on that right-hand side. But I think with Gnabry being out and was it Lennart Karl sustained an injury, I think Sane would have been third choice maybe, but opportunity for him.
Florian Wirtz definitely first choice. Undav with a flick. What a finish on the right foot from the left back. Nathaniel Brown took that like an accomplished striker. Right foot volley, 5-pass room, and Germany have 5 in Houston. Germany 5, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, it's a lovely touch and finish. I thought it was very tight whether he was offside, the German left back, but I mean, it's Nagelsmann football. There's your fullback, your left fullback drifting in. I think the left boot of Leandro Bakuna maybe just plays him onside, but the ball popped up from Undav into Brown, who just sits there waiting to be volleyed, and it's a really composed volley, right-footed from the left back into the far corner. Broom can't quite get his left hand down to it. That's a brilliant finish, and the Germans, what's that, 5 now?
Yep.
The German juggernaut this afternoon.
Hydration break. Whistle has blown. Kai Havertz slings the ball away. There we go. We're just getting the picture on the monitor to show that he was just onside, as you say, played onside by Leandro Bacuna's left. The technique there, Chris, on the right foot to hit the volley and swivel and keep that low.
The important thing there is, I mean, you're not the most flexible. You've got to get that right foot up nice and high and just get over, just caress the ball.
I mean, I love this. We're getting a football coaching session. Let's bring Phil Jones in, former England international. Phil, have you scored a few like that in your time? Keep the hip high and just right foot volley, bottom corner?
Do you know what? I actually did it a couple of times, to be fair, and they're probably the only 2 goals I scored. But no, great finish. Fully expected this game to pan out how it is now. Curaçao are tiring, and the quality that Germany have got on the pitch it is showing.
It certainly is. We were in Munich, Chris, 2 years ago at the start of the Euros. They beat Scotland 5-1 there, didn't they? They're leading Curaçao by 5 goals to 1 here. At times, they've looked like they're going to give the opposition a chance, though, as well. Yeah. Curaçao have had their moments, haven't they?
Well, I think it's the way that Nagelsmann teams play. You see the full-backs invert and get high up, and they leave the 2 centre-halves bare at times, so spacing the channels for Curaçao to hit when they win the ball back, quick transition and a long ball into the channel, but that's the way they play. They try and create overloads, and they've got some excellent players. Mentioned Musiala. Wirtz looks sharp, especially in the first half, doesn't he? Mecha looks to be a real player. You've got Pavlovic, who's more of a stopper in that midfield area, and Kimmich, who plays central midfield for Munich, right back in this German team. But so many intelligent players.
So the German players, to their mind, have finished their hydration break, and they're walking back towards the middle of the pitch, and the officials are trying to stop them from taking up their positions. And I think this is the thing, Chris, isn't it? You were meant to have 2.5 minutes for this, and I think some teams, particularly on a day like today where they don't feel they need it, sort of want to get it back out there, and the officials are sort of saying to them, hold on, stay there. I'm not quite sure why that is. Germany lead.
It does, yeah. I'm repeating myself as I often do, but I don't think that it feels like the temperature the roof is on inside the stadium, the Hooster Stadium, it doesn't feel like, having played before, that this is excessive heat.
No. Other games to come in this stadium. It will host 6 more during the tournament. Chris and I will be here on Wednesday for Portugal. Highly fancy, Chris.
Who fancies
What a squad.
Them? Well, they've never won the World Cup.
No, I know. But
with Ronaldo as centre forward and manager.
Portugal against the Democratic Republic of Congo. We're here on Saturday, Chris, for Netherlands against Sweden. Graham Potter's Sweden. Portugal, Uzbekistan, we'll do that one on Tuesday week. Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia we don't get to do. And then this stadium gets a last 32 game. Winners of Group C could be Scotland. Scotland or Brazil could be here. Antonio Rudiger is coming on.
Jonathan Tah. There's another couple
Germany.
of substitutions down there. Goretzka coming on, I think, for Mecha, is it? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, Mecha's coming off. And it looks like Brown. Scorer of the 5th goal, Nathaniel Brown, is coming off too, to be replaced by David Raum, who is one of the most heavily tattooed footballers, there we go, close up of him, that you will ever see. His body is absolutely plastered in ink.
A little bit excessive, I think, but it's each to their own. Yep, that's right.
So David Raum, one of those 3 subs on for Germany. They lead by 5 goals to 1. Rudiger on for Schlotterbeck. In fact, that's the change that's come up on the screen for us.
He's one of those defenders. I love watching him, Rudiger. He is all action. He is all in. Super aggressive, isn't he?
Curaçao back underway here in the Houston Stadium, passing back to their goalkeeper Room. Out it comes to Leandro Bacuna, the captain, in the right back position. Germany buzzing around and winning that ball. Raum gets involved immediately. One of those tattoos, I think, on his chest says "Living the Dream." Very much appreciative of everything he has in his life and moments like this. Have you got?
Is that in German or?
Probably. I don't know what it is in German. Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Well, you asking me, have I got a tattoo?
But I know the answer to that, and I think people probably know.
Well, how do you know?
That's a fair point. Floranus from the back for Curaçao. Lofted ball. Rudiger gets his first touch and heads it away. Antonissa is there. Lays the pass back. Obispo on the halfway line. Plays it to the left for Curaçao. This is Antonissa again. Trailing Germany by 5 goals to 1. Got themselves back to 1-1 in the first half. Really joyous moment inside this stadium. I think even the Germany fans now would look back on that and sort of recognise that for what it was. As I say, only the 5th Caribbean nation to qualify for a World Cup. And those Caribbean nations have only ever won 2 games at World Cups. Ball in from Chong is low. Across the face of goal, goes behind for a goal kick. So the 2 wins, I know Chris will know this. Cuba beat Romania 2-1 in a replay, Chris. They had replays back in the 1938 World Cup. They then lost 8-0 to Sweden in the quarterfinals. And Jamaica beat Japan. France 98. I remember that game. Beat Japan in Lyon, which was a great win for Jamaica. Curaçao trailing Germany by 5 goals to 1. Germany's next game is against Ivory Coast in Toronto. They've got defending to do here. Curaçao trying to get in on the left-hand side. Oh, and it's just wide. Neuer at full stretch. Went to try and make the save. He wasn't sure that was going wide. It's gone behind for the goal kick. And that was some curling effort from the fellow with the funny shorts.
Margarita, I would love him to score. I mean, the size of his shorts, they're amazing. As you quite rightly said, looks a bit like Simon Cowell, the way he's wearing his shorts. But coming inside off that left-hand side, tries to bend it into that far corner. Yeah. He's not far away. Manuel Neuer wasn't saving that.
15 minutes to play. Very sedate pace now here in Houston. Germany 5, Curaçao 1. So Germany getting their World Cup campaign underway with a thumping win. Ball is nodded down to the left to Raum, played back into the penalty area, crossing towards the far post, is side-footed away. Chance for Undav, possibly Room comes off his line and then just grabs the ball just in time above the head of Undav, holds onto it and brings it out to the edge of the penalty area. Ball is played out from the back. Chong brings it down on his chest, tackled by Schlotterbeck. Goretzka gives it to Sane. There's Goretzka again, who's a Nagelsmann favourite in central midfield for the national team. One of those who didn't necessarily have a sparkling season club-wise. There's Schlotterbeck. Pass forward from Pavlovic. Laid back here to Wirtz. Sane in a central position. Moves away from a couple of defenders. Havertz has pulled out wide to the left. Back to Pavlovic. Pinging the short passes around. Wirtz wide here to Raum. Havertz's cross all the way across goal. Kimmich, 2 touches there, lays it back and the shot comes in and ends up in the back of the net. And Dennis Undav does it again for Germany. Really impressive scoring record for the national team. 10 caps, 7 goals and a 6th goal for Germany. You feel a little for Curaçao, who've given their utmost in this game, but they're being undone in the second half now. And Germany are piling on the pain. Germany 6, Curaçao 1.
Yeah, some lovely football from the Germans. They're just popping the ball around, and Kimmich actually took a really poor first touch when the ball was fizzed across and on the point of the 6-yard line. Just still had that presence of mind, that awareness to find his teammate Dennis Undav 6 yards out level with the right-hand post. Actually chokes the ball into the floor, into the back of the net. Dennis the Menace. Germany, 6 of the best.
Yeah, 6 different goal scorers as well for Germany in this game. So Undav, See a big picture of him flexing his muscles as well on those screens to our right and to our left. Germany have given the ball away. Chong onto it for Curaçao, turning in the centre circle. 12 minutes to play. Germany leading 6-1. I remember they beat Saudi Arabia in the 2002 World Cup by 8 goals to 0. I think Klose got a hat-trick that day. Record World Cup margin of victory is 9 goals. Here come Germany again. Goretzka's pass, low ball looking for Havertz from Undav. Doesn't make its way through. Hungary beat El Salvador by 10 goals to 1. And I want to say 1982, but I'm not entirely sure. Margarita trying to use a bit of pace, and Rudiger sticks with him. Gets those old legs going. Powers back, passes it back to Neuer, plays it quickly forward to Kimmich.
He can still defend, can't he, Rudiger? Third choice now behind Schlotterbeck and Jonathan Tah, but still got enough in the tank. Margarita putting the burners on there and saying, I'm going to run you, old man.
Yeah.
And the old man kept his pace well.
1982, just had confirmation there.
What was that game?
George, I said Hungary, El Salvador, didn't I? Yeah, Hungary won it. I think that's right. Won it by 10 goals to 1. Here's Havertz. Let's hope that doesn't happen to Curaçao, though. Enjoyed watching them in Houston this afternoon. This will take plenty out of them. Their next game, Ecuador in Kansas on Saturday. Wirtz passes back to Schlotterbeck. Official attendance just over 68,000 inside the stadium. 68,021. Kimmich on the turn inside his own half, plays it across to Rudiger. Netherlands, Japan, full commentary on the way. Kicks off at 9 o'clock UK time this evening. That game's in Dallas at midnight. We've got Ivory Coast against Ecuador, the other game in this group.
That's also an interesting game, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Ball up towards the halfway line. Curaçao intercept. Antonissa bursts forward, darts to his right-hand side. Chong is closed down by 2 defenders. Here's Schlotterbeck wide on the left. Oh, Wirtz, lovely touch. Saw the challenge coming, evaded it, flicked the ball into the feet of Havertz. Now Goretzka picks up the pace, slides a pass to his right. Sane will fancy a goal, I think. On the move down the right, cross block behind for the corner. So goal scorers today: Mecha, Schlotterbeck, Havertz from the penalty spot, Musiala, Brown and Undav. For 6 different goal scorers for Germany.
Another couple of changes here. One for each team. That's where it gets tricky, isn't it? For the commentators. I feel for you.
Well, you too, Chris. We're a team, I think. Valdemar Anton waiting to come on for Germany, the defender. And that is Gervain Castanier, who plays his club football in Malaysia. Once of Coventry, and played some football in the Scottish Premiership for Hearts as well at one point. Germany corner, Raum into the far post. Havertz was the closest to it, but not near enough to make an attempt to get it. It goes behind for a goal kick to Curaçao.
He was the guy, am I right in saying, who scored a fair few goals in the qualifiers?
Castanier, 5 goals in qualifying. All of those came in the second round of qualifying, Chris. So I would say sort of the easier game. So they beat Barbados 4-1. They won.
You've still got to score them.
Imagine going to some of these venues, right, to play fixtures. Oh yeah, I've got a game against Barbados, Aruba, St Lucia, and Haiti, obviously, who are here at this World Cup. And then in that next group stage, Trinidad and Tobago, Bermuda. Imagine that. Yeah, an away fixture in Bermuda. Lovely. Kimmich coming off, being clapped off by his teammate Valdemar Anton, who's coming on for Germany. This whole game is slowing down and drawing to a close. Excitement in that first half when Curaçao got it back to 1-1, but crucially Havertz with the late penalty in the first half to get Germany 3-1 ahead, and then actually they came out and scored very early in the second half as well, and never really gave Curaçao a sniff. Handball from Castanier. The other line on Castanier, Chris, that I read in the notes, he has only 30% vision in one eye from a football injury from years ago. He's got a torn retina. That's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
To be able to Well, to take the risk, really.
Well, and to carry on playing.
Yeah, exactly.
My career ended because of an eye injury.
I remember, yeah. Rudiger's ball over the top, headed away to the edge of the box. Undav is trying to get there, loses out in the 50-50.
Although I have to say the Aston Villa fans were delighted when my career ended.
Germany still chasing, trying to win the ball back. Here is Castaneer. Good turn. Loses Pavlovic. Can they get themselves a second goal? Antonissa moving forward at speed. Plays it to the left to Margarita. But he's chased down by Anton, who knocks it behind for a Curaçao corner. Germany 6, Curaçao 1.
Not a good pass from Antonissa, who's playing more in a central area. Number 10 rolls since Margarita has come on. Just allowed Anton a little chance to get back and make the interception, which he did do well.
Germany leading 6-1. Curaçao fans still loving every second of this. Corner right in front of them towards the far post. Headed away by Germany. Ball comes out to the right-hand side for Curaçao. There's Juninho Bacuna tackled. Pavlovic gives it to Wirtz. Wirtz moves it on quickly. Havertz at full speed chases that ball out to the right. Antonissa's breathing down his neck. Havertz turns, passes it back to Antonio Rudiger, playing in his 3rd World Cup for Germany. Treasuring every moment, I'm sure. Leroy Sané playing in his 5th major tournament for Germany. No goals and just the 1 assist from all the games that he's played in those. It's more often been used as a sub rather than a starter, but I'm sure he'd love to improve that record. Undav, clever pass here to Raum. Raum from the angle, deflected shot. Room saves with his feet. The ball spins up in the air and Room is able to catch it at the second attempt.
Yeah, I mean, for Undav, for being this supposedly just out-and-out striker, I mean, made the goal for Brown, didn't he? And that was a clever little cushion pass. And Raum onto it and left-footed from the angle. Room makes the save at the second attempt.
It's a good point, actually. Room, obviously Raum in German is room, isn't it? So we've actually got... Did you say that? Did I completely miss that? Sorry, beg your pardon. Way over my head. Eloy Room, Curaçao's goalkeeper, on the ball. Last 5 minutes of the game, Germany 6 goals they have managed to put past Curaçao, and they're going to come looking for more. Wirtz has the volley pass to Undav. Cleared down the right by Curaçao, chased by the right back Floranas. Diving header back from Schlotterbeck is nicely guided towards his goalkeeper. Referee's blown the whistle for something. Looks like it's going to be a Germany free. Was there an offside there? Flag? Oh, it was offside.
No, I don't think it was offside. I think Floranas actually, Neuer picked the ball up and tried to play quickly. Floranas blocked him from doing it. Havertz
for Germany. I think it's going to be hot when we get outside this stadium, because I can see those skies brightening through some of the windows high up above the 4th tier of this stadium. Sané just side foots a pass back to Rudiger. Rudiger's ball over the top. It's a straight one, but it bounces once in the penalty area for Curaçao. Havertz won't get anywhere near that. Goalkeeper Room chests it down. Chris and I were lucky enough before the game to meet and have our photos taken with Maple the Moose, Zayu the Jaguar, and Clutch the Bald Eagle. That was a highlight for them. The 3 mascots for World Cup 2026, representing each nation. Anton thought about a pass back to Neuer, decided against it because Margarita was in his peripheral vision. Throw in for Curaçao, taken short to Antonissa. 3 minutes plus added time remaining here in the Houston Stadium. Germany leading Curaçao by 6 goals to 1. John Murray and Paul Robinson on the way, 9 o'clock UK time. Netherlands against Japan. That promises to be a really good game of football, I think. Start of Group F. Germany win it on the halfway line. Undav through the middle for Havertz, racing clear, looking for a 7th goal. Couple of touches. What a finish! What a finish from Kai Havertz. Coolly chips it past the goalkeeper, Eloy Room, for his 2nd goal of the game. And Germany really have put Curaçao down to the sword in the second half. They've shown no mercy, the 4 times champions against the debutants, and there have been some really good finishes in there, and that was one of them from Havertz. Germany 7, Curaçao 1.
Yep, the Blue Wave getting a bit of a battering. There's been wave after wave of German attacks in this second half, and Curaçao have just tied, but the finish, you mentioned it, Bruce, was wonderful. Kai Havertz, Undav, I think, with the pass through, Goretzka winning the ball, and Undav sliding him through, drives into the box. He's under a bit of pressure from Obispo, and lifts the ball up over Room. It's a sublime finish, such a clever finish. Does take a little bit of a deflection, and the Curaçao defender's off his shin and over the goalkeeper, but he's a class act, Kai Havertz.
I don't have this written down. I was just about to say, when was the last time a team scored 7 goals in a World Cup match? And immediately your mind flicks to that semi-final. Germany beat Brazil 7-1 in Brazil. I don't know whether that was the last time, but it's a scoreline the Germans know well. So Havertz has got 2. Tough for Curaçao. Got to try and pick themselves up now. Dick Advocat, definitely the man for that. Next game against Ecuador on Saturday. Next break in play will take you to Dallas. I hope John Murray's got his Stetson on. He's going to bring us the team news of Netherlands-Japan shortly, but here's Raum on the left. Cross comes in. Germany go looking for an 8th goal here against Curaçao. Curaçao have dealt with this. They start to play out from the back, running the ball through midfield. Antonissa is there, gets onto it, plays up to Castaner, well marshalled by Schlotterbeck. Raum chips a ball into midfield, but Curaçao with Comenencia are able to win it back, and they take possession. 90th minute of the game, Germany leading Curaçao 7-1. John Murray has the team news ahead of Netherlands-Japan. Howdy, John.
Howdy, partner. The Netherlands, the same starting lineup as their last warm-up match. So Marlon as the central striker, Depay's on the bench, so Gakpo and Somerville will start either side of him. And Japan actually playing 9 of the team that started when they beat England in March, with Daisen Maeda, who had such a good end of this season with Celtic. He's starting instead of Kaoru Matoma, who, as we know, was ruled out of the World Cup injured. On you go.
Thank you, John. Yeah, looking forward to it. 9 o'clock kickoff.
John
UK
Wayne.
time. John Wayne. I can imagine John as a sheriff, a no-nonsense sheriff back in the Wild West, don't you think?
I'd have him more down as one of those bankers, just...
What, the clerk behind the desk? Maybe. I like
see
John
him
as
in
the
one
sheriff.
of those little Clark hats, couldn't you?
Yeah, maybe. Bacuna playing the ball to his brother, Juninho Bacuna, as Curaçao come forward. They've conceded 7, but they have managed to score 1. Margarita nearly managed to wriggle his way into the German penalty area. Pavlovic plays the ball back to Neuer. 4 minutes of added time remaining. Germany have shown absolutely no mercy. They've not played at full gas necessarily throughout the entire second half, but when the chances have come, they've gone forward and they've taken them. I mean, not really chasing the goal difference as such, but just it's a World Cup match, and you're going to try and play to your very best. And there's no room for sentiment there. Here's Margarita on the left-hand side. Anton in his face, down by the byline on the left for Curaçao. Tries to knock it past Anton. Anton gets the ball first, plays it down the dead ball line towards Rudiger, who's passed the ball straight out of play, and we have 3 minutes of this game remaining. Germany 7, Curaçao 1. Throw-in taken on the left, comes back to Bacuna, early cross from him, volleyed away by Schlotterbeck. Floranus chests it down, closed down by Undav, passes the ball back into midfield. Leandro Bacuna has to turn to chase that one, goes shoulder to shoulder with Raum. Last touch came off the Curaçaoan, and that will be a throw-in to Germany. And Chris, you must have some. I mean, obviously our little social media sell for this game was Bonanza and Cowboys and all that. I mean, when we head to Dallas, there must be plans, I would have thought, already brewing in your mind. There's a lot of potential there, I think.
Well, there is, isn't there?
There really is. I'm thinking Larry Hagman particularly. Yeah. 80s soap operas, that sort of thing. Sue Ellen. Here's Juninho Bacuna dancing into the Germany penalty. Look at Dennis Undav is back there doing some tackling, taking a touch, plays a lovely pass.
He's been an incredible team player, hasn't he, since he's come on, Dennis.
And Germany playing some lovely stuff. Now, can they find themselves an 8th goal? Danger here for Curaçao. Again, Goretzka trying to thread it through. Havertz on the hat-trick, of course. Goretzka plays back to Pavlovic. Curaçao looking a bit disorganised at the back. Low pass comes in. That won't find Goretzka. Overrun by Obispo. Pavlovic takes it off him, brings it forward, slides it to Goretzka. Loose touch in the penalty area. And Curaçao, through Bazua, are able to get that ball away. Schlotterbeck heads it forward. 90 seconds of the game remaining. Germany come looking for an 8th goal. Pavlovic's pass is intercepted. Pavlovic goes down. Ooh, free kick for Germany. Shooting range, could be a late chance for them to put an 8th goal on the score sheet. Germany 7, Curaçao 1. Tell you what I didn't discuss. Oh, they're going to take the free kick quick now. Ref's not going to let them do that. Before the tournament with my fellow commentators, Chris, previously we've done the Golden Mic competition. So commentators to commentate on the most goals during a tournament. I'm shouting that a little bit late here, aren't I?
I think that's fine because, I think it's gone on in every tournament. So you'd be off to a reasonable start.
Well, you and I, it's a team thing.
Is it a team?
I think it's a team thing. Partnership, big man, little man, that sort of thing.
Well, let's see who's over the ball. We've got Raum over the ball.
Yep.
We've got Sane. I've seen Sane from Manchester City, this sort of range, many moons ago. Lash one in from this sort of range.
Wirtz,
30-odd yards, isn't it?
Wirtz is in the proximity as well. Yeah, I think you're bang on there, Chris. About 30 yards out. Raum fancy it, doesn't it? The way he's placed the ball is like, I'm going to hit this. And then if he does, he'll have to mark the occasion with another tattoo if he's got any room on his body. Whistle blows. Not going to take a long run at it. Raum. If it is going to be Raum, jogs on the spot. No, he clips it into the far post. Havertz on the hat-trick, nods it down. Oh, Goretzka is just behind him, couldn't get the shot away. Ball comes back to the edge of the box. Anton with a floated cross, looks for Rudiger, and it goes behind for the goal kick.
Goretzka, he reminded me of me there, but I'm 53, he couldn't quite manoeuvre straight. There's the final whistle. Huge win for Germany.
Yeah, thumping win for the 4 times world champion. Showed no mercy to Curaçao there. Germany have surfed the blue wave, but what a joyous blue wave it was. Curaçao, the tiny Caribbean nation on their debut, gave as good as they got, particularly in the first half, got the equaliser. That's the moment they'll never forget. Comenencia with the goal past Manuel Neuer to make it 1-1 at the time, but in the end Germany got themselves 4 in the second half. Havertz ends up with 2, and Germany just clicked themselves, Chris Sutton, into a nice rhythm early in the tournament.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Nice rhythm. Everybody expected Germany to win this game this afternoon, and they did do in the manner in which they won. It was so comfortable. It was billed as little and large, wasn't it? The mighty Germans against a little island, well, the islanders from the Caribbean, and a second half it was really difficult for them. They got that goal. That moment was one we could see the Curaçao fans down to our right hand side who are applauding their team, proud of their nation, and the players shaking hands. But good start for Germany, but a start which we all expected.
Youngest coach in the tournament gets the better of the oldest coach ever at the World Cup in Dick Advocat, but let's not forget the resources, the players available to both nations. 2 more games to come for Curaçao, of course, in this tournament. Tougher tests await for Germany. Havertz got 2-1 from the penalty spot. Metscher, Schlotterbeck, Musiala, Nathaniel Brown and Dennis Undav with the goals for Germany. Thumping win to start their World Cup. They've beaten Curaçao by 7-1.
Ali, Chris, thank you so much. An emphatic start to this FIFA 2026 World Cup campaign for Julian Nagelsmann's Germany. And I know it's not the 7-1 over Brazil, but it's a great way to kick off the campaign, Chris Sutton. And they look lean, they look efficient, they look well drilled.
Yes, they did do. In fairness, Curaçao had that little spell in the first half, and they got the goal where the Germans looked a bit jittery. But no, they showed the control, which I think we all expected them to have. We thought they'd dominate the ball, dominate possession. I think Bruce said in commentary they looked a little bit vulnerable at times when Curaçao won the ball back and in transition, but overall, it's a start with the 7 goals that'll just give them a bit of confidence. But there are going to be tougher tests to follow. I think this is a tricky group. Ivory Coast and Ecuador to come for Germany. They will be tougher games, but it's, all things being equal, it's a good start for Julian Nagelsmann.
Chris, gutted for you that Margarita didn't get a goal or an assist.
Yeah, I mean, just how big his shorts are. I mean, just absolutely amazing. Come on, kit man, just do your job properly. Give him a pair of shorts which fit him properly. But it was amazing, wasn't it? Watching him. Come on,
Must mention here, Aaron, it's exactly what you'd expect. So the German players away to our left have gathered in a sort of tight huddle, and they've moved to our left to go and take the applause from the German fans. But the Curaçaoan squad, I mean, the entire playing squad are out there, the coaching staff as well, and it's a wonderful sight. And I know people have reservations about a 48-team World Cup and some of the quality of football we're going to see and how long the tournament's going to take. But what a moment for those players and those fans. And it's such a brilliant sight in this stadium. That pocket of just bright, bold blue with yellow trim. And those players, they've been thumped by 7 goals to 1. But the fans know exactly what they put in to get this nation to this tournament, to be even playing here, to show their respect and their love. And the Curaçaoan players are returning. And that's a really lovely moment inside this stadium. And actually, you look at them there, the Bacuna brothers there, sort of hoisting their arms in the air just to get more from the fans as well, and they'll say we'll go again against Ecuador. It's going to be really tough for this tournament, but I've really enjoyed watching them today, Aaron.
I think it's a great point that Bruce makes about Curaçao and the ovation they got from the fans, and whether you, as Ali says, whether you agree with the 48-team tournament or not, I think you have to embrace it coming into it, and they've done themselves proud to get this far. They'll be disappointed with the result. They tried to go toe-to-toe with Germany at times. Wily old manager, which they've got. But it's great to see all the fans in this, in the stadium. It's a tiny, tiny island, Curaçao, but they've come in their numbers. They've supported their team, and they're still applauding the team, and they can be proud of themselves.